Boom, 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 boom.
Anyways,
here we go. All right, Ben, tell us what you think.
I will tell you about the bad news. Here's the bad news I just saw.
crap.
Aaron Jones is out again.
Oh,
now,
okay.
Officially out. So
that's not good. But
that makes me scared and sad because my fantasy football team really needs him bad. Really, really bad.
Well, that's true.
Your fantasy is... Okay, can I just say... I got to say one more thing about the fantasy team. Speaking of, since Mo's going to be on, Mo's in first place right now, by the way.
Oh, he's so lucky.
Which
you
is
can
against,
talk about that. You can talk about that.
Against the law or against everything. He should not be in first place. Now, his team is called Better Than Eckes. That's a great name. I always said that's the best name I've ever heard of. But anyways, Eckes gotcha there. Anyways, I swear to God, there are 3 or 4 guys in this league that are abusing the IR spot, by the way. Like, if there's supposed to be specific spots for IR players, and they are putting guys that aren't on IR on IR. Not only that, they're picking up 25,000 running backs. As soon as a guy gets hurt and the backup, they know who the backup is, they grab him in like a second, and they don't even play him. They just take them and steal them. And then all of us guys who have guys that are hurt can't get them. Now, I'm not talking Packer running backs, because I know that the Packer running backs are always on a team because, I mean, we have half the people, almost all of our guys in our group are Packer fans. So they just scoop up Packers all the time. And I get it. Like, Dad just picked up Lazard earlier this week because he came off IR, even though he's not even going to play for like a couple weeks. But Dad was like, I don't care. We're going to grab him anyway because Dad,
Dad's lighting him up. Dad's lighting him up.
Right. He's leading in points. But anyways, so every time I go in there to try to get a running back, that I was like, okay, maybe I'll get this scrub crap running back who is like the second string guy on some team, or third string guy who the first string guy got hurt, the second string guy got hurt. He's already on Hill's team or Chris's team or Nico's team or Mo's team or Travis. Actually, it's usually Travis or Hill or Chris.
Yeah.
Those 3 guys.
Ooh.
I don't know if they are plugged into something where they must have no time.
Yep.
Like, they have all the time in the world to like look for stuff. And as soon as like the opening window opens up or whatever it is to get guys, they just grab them. They've already got 17 running backs on their dang team. Why do they need another running? They don't even start them or play them or anything. They're just sitting on their bench. And then I got half my guys hurt.
I know.
And then Hill's got all of his spots are filled. Even IR spots that are supposed to be just for IR, but they're all filled with guys.
All right.
How does that work? And then I can't find a running back to even start. Not even one running back to start. Because every time I go on there to find somebody, it's like they're all gone.
Well, all I can say, I'll tell you 2 things. All right. I'll tell you 2 things. Hey,
it's a
Eric,
bunch of crap.
How you doing?
Hello.
You get to voice your displeasures in a little bit. Ben was just complaining about your extreme fantasy luck, but after that, he was complaining about all these other things that with fantasy. Now, Ben, here's 2 things about fantasy. One, first of all, I just woke up like 1 minute ago, so I've actually been on here this whole time, not awake, but I just finally woke up. Ben, number 1 is
I was yelling. I was purposely yelling so that you would wake up. That was my plan.
Here. See, now those people you mentioned all slipped the commissioner a little extra coin, and because of that, virtual coin, obviously. Because of that, they get some of the extra leeway. They get those extra IR spots. Yeah, Bitcoin. And then the other big thing is, so we got Hill is very old. Like, give him a break. Plus, his team's terrible. Like, just stop it already.
Yeah, but why does he have to take? He's got like 6 running backs.
He likes running backs. He likes. Remember that?
He picked up a guy this week.
Do you remember?
To go see.
2 years ago. Quiet a second.
Not his bench.
Quiet. I just woke up. 2 years ago. Do you remember how Dad had like 4 tight ends? So sometimes these old guys, they like to just.
I don't care about tight ends. You can grab a tight end. You don't even have to start it. Okay, I am going to say this now, and I've said this for years. I'm
gonna check the chat.
I don't care about the chat. I said this for last 3 or 4 years. I made 2 commissioner rules that you've changed that need to come back.
Well, you know the answer.
We should no longer be required to start a single spot running back.
That's right. You also said you shouldn't.
It's ridiculous.
Start a quarterback, or you shouldn't be required to start anybody.
No, you have to start a quarterback.
Why?
You don't. You know what? You don't. It should be a quarterback / running back. That's what it should be.
Actually, you know what?
You can play 5 wide receivers if you want, because the Packers have done it in the past when they had they had Donald Driver, they had Greg Jennings, they had James Jones, they had Jordy Nelson, they had Randall Cobb. They had all 5 of those guys at one point on the field at the same time, and I've seen it happen. So the fact that I have to start a running back is bull malarkey sauce, because all these goofballs are picking up all the dang running backs. And I know this is supposed to be a Packer show, no, but it's not it's the Hafeman Brothers Friday show. The Tuesday is the Packer show. The Friday show is Hafeman Brothers, Brews and Bros. We do whatever the heck we want, talk whatever we want.
Look at this one. I got a new one. It's called Chasing. Well, it's new to me anyway. Limited release Chasing Freshies IPA.
Is that Deschutes?
Fresh hop, yeah.
It is. I love Deschutes. Yep. They good stuff.
Yeah, I know. You shot a lot. You shot every time I passed you the ball in basketball, you ball hog, Mo. You are the shoots.
The pass was so good. How could I not shoot it?
The one thing I wanted to say is I'm glad you said it, because I would have butchered that name probably. Now, I'm going to butcher.
You guys stopped me in the middle of my rant.
That's because
it's a long rant.
I already told you. Listen here. You know the answer to this question. You should have just taken over as commissioner again. I told you that 2 years ago.
I don't want to. I'm too lazy. I told you that too.
Well, I know that. You don't have to tell me that. Listen, I already know you're too damn lazy.
We should not have to start a running back, period. It should be a running back /, whatever spot. And all of them should be / spots.
You know what? All right. I made rule changes to accommodate whiny
and
HFF players.
Started that stupid. Started you could get a bunch of extra points.
No.
And then you change the rules so that tackling equals like one tackle equals more than 50 yards rushing or something.
Now, guess what?
So this guy's defensive player getting 75 points on your team, and I got a running back who ran 60 yards and got me 6 points.
All right.
You got a guy who got 4 tackles and somebody's got 9 points. What the crap is this? How does that even work?
Right now, were you drinking before this? Because right now we're like all these other debate shows where people just yell at each other. Now stop it. All right, one second.
I gotta wake you up.
I'm plenty awake. Eric, welcome to the program.
Thanks.
Everybody else, welcome to the program. Eric Dahl, Andy Brown, Jason Negus, Mom and Dad. Sorry I'm late. Like I said, I was up. I got no sleep like the whole week, and it finally caught up with me, and just the worst time. But here we are. There's no excuse. We get paid big money to do this damn show, so we're here.
Oh my God, I am just rolling in it.
Hey, I got one awesome thing though. Did you happen to see? So Blas was very appreciative that he was super fan of the week this week.
That guy's the man.
And did you hear what he said?
If he's a man, I think it's a man. I mean,
or did you read his comment? I didn't actually hear his voice yet. I dreamed what his voice sounds like all the way from Slovakia.
Yeah, Slovakia.
But we finally know what country. Maybe next week we'll find out what city in Slovakia. I mean,
don't tell anybody, Blas, because you don't want anybody tracking you down, man.
He's narrowing it down for us. Anyway.
No. Just
the point is this.
Out there, like,
he said,
fighting you, dude.
Bernard, we didn't waste A-Rod's career. Bernard, come on, man. Aaron Rodgers' career is not over yet. We have time. And actually, we're going to get into a little A-Rod with Eric, Viking Moe in a little bit. But let me finish this point now so we can get somewhere. Okay. The whole deal with I lost my train of thought. This happens when I'm tired.
Well, I'm just going to say, Mo, you look very rested and happy today.
Thanks. Actually, I got done with work a little early today, so we did a little neighborhood Halloween stuff the day early to kind of avoid the crowds of tomorrow. So, and very CDC regulated Halloween trick-or-treating. So safe, but yet fun. Girls didn't know the difference. So yeah. It was a nice evening, and happy to be here. Glad that you were able to wake up, Jason, so we could still do this. It's good.
All right, Eric, please tell us, why the hell are you so lucky in fantasy football?
Yeah. I mean, it helps when you score a lot of points.
Okay. You had a couple of big weeks the last few.
Yep.
Like before that, you were somehow you'd won like all the games and scored like what?
You played me week 1, so that was
9th in points.
Yeah. Well, I mean, week 1 is just it's like a free square. I mean, when you're playing, I mean, if I'm gonna have a down week, I might as well have a week 1 and still win, because it's Ben and he just doesn't score any points. So I mean, I think it's a little bit of this, to be fair. I mean, obviously I got by with a few wins there that I probably shouldn't have if I played almost anybody else could have lost. But I played Ben week 1. So, and then there's a couple other ones, I'll be honest, but I had some monster weeks, and that's how it goes. But I think there's some karma, because there's times when I've had like literally the most points in the league and I like missed the playoffs. So that's just fantasy football. It's infuriating sometimes. And,
Okay.
that's just how it is. And I'm okay with starting 3 running backs, and that's just fine with me. So the rules of the league, and you build and draft your team according to the rules. So, and last I checked, I think the Bills running back is available. I think he's a 3rd stringer, but it's still a running back. Ben, you could.
He's not available, Mo. Nobody is. Nobody's available, Mo.
Ben.
I had Nick Chubb and Aaron Jones, Mo. I had the best 2 running back combo in the freaking league. Nick Chubb went on IR. Aaron Jones has been out for the last 2 weeks. I've been screwed. I had other guys.
Hey, you know what? I lost.
Then they run bye week. I
got half a game out of Michael Thomas so far this year. My first round pick.
Michael Thomas
I have
good.
Eckler, who's now on IR. I've had other guys. You can look at my lineup right now. I got like all my guys are out. Like I need 2 more like IR spots is what I need.
Oh, Jason has Saquon Barkley. We've all had our number 1 running back out.
Yeah, they all went away. Mo's going. Mo's. I'm not drafting running backs anymore. Ben, this is my answer. I just remembered my light bulb from after your rant. Is that I'm gonna blow it wide open. No more positions anymore. You pick whatever the hell players you want. Actually, I'm gonna make a rule: no quarterbacks. Otherwise, start anybody you want. So what I'm going to do
perfect for my Gardner Minshew plan.
I'm going to start all defensive players. I'm going to pick up all the best defensive.
No, because you changed the rules. No, listen. I'm not trying to be. Listen, all I'm saying is this.
I want everyone that gets 200 tackles.
This season in particular, with the COVID stuff and a whole lot of guys got hurt.
Yeah, that's tough.
It's very difficult.
Yeah,
with bye weeks to actually get a guy on your team who could actually do something. I mean, I've had to start Latavius Murray as my starting running back and the only running back I could get a hold of, and he's the backup on New Orleans. I had picked up Madison again. I had him a couple weeks ago before the Vikings bye week. I picked him up this week, but now Cook's probably going to play. I don't know. Mo probably knows more. So now I'm screwed there too. I don't care. Let's just not talk about fantasy. I'm just saying, hey.
Yeah, let's be done with that.
And then the other rule is the Ben Hafeman rule that I always loved.
Oh no!
Franchise half and half.
Yeah,
that's too hard. Genius move.
That's too hard to
franchise half and half.
I took away all that manual.
It was a really cool idea
and all that. It's a great idea. Yeah,
it is. Just too hard to. You could present it to any of the fantasy websites to see if they adopt it, and then they could patent it, and it could be a thing. Because it's a great idea.
Yeah, it's mine. I'm a great genius.
Look at how complimentary Eric's being.
You remember my head sleeve?
Even a broken clock is right twice a day. So I mean,
hey, all I know is Under Armour stole my head sleeve. I had the head sleeve back in 1997.
That's true.
And now everybody's got Under Armour head sleeves.
You're just ahead of your time.
Head sleeves.
But just ahead of your time.
You didn't have the right branding. It's Under Armour, underarm. Head sleeve, right? So the sleeve goes under your arm.
That's what I'm saying. It actually was. See, that's the thing that even makes more sense.
Yeah.
Mine actually was the sleeve of my shirt that I cut off. And I stuck it on my head to keep my hair from flopping in my face when I played basketball really poorly, but it was still playing basketball. And therefore, I could see what I was doing. And now Under Armour stole that from me.
Ben,
you didn't patent it.
I mean, how am I not? I should be rich beyond my wildest dreams.
I know you lost out. You lost out in your big.
Every time I see Aaron Jones's under his head sleeve, I'm like, God dang it! That should be my money when Aaron Jones scores a touchdown. Wears shades and a head sleeve.
Get in there. Get back in there. Come out with your own. Get Aaron Jones lined up with it. Hook him up with our show, and we'll see where it goes. All right, now
even MVS wears a head sleeve. He doesn't even have any long hair.
Yeah, MVS needs to wear more than that. All right, here, let's move on to Packer talk. Packer talk. All right. Bernard is bringing up some points here.
Bernard wants to go into Rodgers now.
He wants to talk about Rodgers. We're starting out with Rodgers. Then we'll get into your Viking sob story, Eric, in just a little bit. Now.
Okay, I'm better now. I forgot the Vikings there.
Oh, wow. Thanks.
Sorry, Mo.
Holy cow!
How can you forget?
I gotta shave. Look how
there.
white my beard is. I'm like Santa Claus here.
All right, you're being very off track here, Ben.
Listen, man, I just woke up, and you just woke up, and none of us know what's going on.
I'm trying to get us on point here. Now, listen. Oh,
it's the Friday show. We're just
right.
whatever.
My last point was that you're trying to tell me about doing the franchise half and half and add more work or add more time to my responsibilities. I don't have time in 24 hours to sleep. So how the hell am I going to spend more time on fantasy football commissioning? No. Stop.
Okay, that's fine.
All right, here we go. All right. Bernard says that Rodgers' career isn't done yet. Bernard, the Packers haven't supported him the way they should. That's for sure. But no one gives Rodgers credit on how tough he is, and that I agree with 100%. I think Rodgers is pretty damn tough, and people don't realize he takes hits well. He plays through injuries. He plays through all kinds of crap. The only thing he couldn't play was when you broke his damn collarbones.
It's really tough to stand back in the pocket and have all day to throw.
He does not have all day, Eric.
He's just got all day, all the time.
Dude, he doesn't have all day.
He's got all day.
If you watch him versus other
if you guys watch a Viking game, you know what it's like to not have time to pass.
Yeah.
Okay.
No,
so,
no. I know.
So I think it's an embarrassment of riches. I'm sitting back in the pocket and I don't get touched. He's been durable, sure, except when he shatters his collarbone. But other than that, is it really that tough? I don't know.
No, he's not that tough.
He's tough.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, he is.
And then, not only that, who's the guy he replaced? The toughest guy ever. The guy who knew that if he ever got pulled out of the game, his backup would play better than him. So he kept playing, even with the broken wrist and his back hurt and his leg hurt. He had his thumb got chopped off. He had wheelchair. It doesn't matter. Brett Favre is going to go out there. I was never a big fan of Brett Favre. Everybody knows that. I like him more now than I liked him when he played. But listen, when that guy's the guy there before you, and Rodgers has missed games, Favre never missed a game. He should have. We would have had Matt Hasselbeck instead. You all know I like that better. But how can you compare them? That's the reason. That's the reason, Bernard. I like Rodgers. I can't say I like Favre, but what I'm saying is I like Rodgers a lot. But as long as you're following Favre, you're never going to get the credit for toughness because Favre is the ultimate tough guy. So that's the guy he compares him to. Now, the other thing is, though, you compare his interceptions to Rodgers, and that's where, Rodgers wins. You compare quarterback rating, Rodgers wins. You compare Super Bowl MVPs, Rodgers wins. You compare NFC Championship. I don't know. Actually, I think they had the same amount of NFC Championship games.
Appearances? No, I don't think so.
Well, Favre, what are you talking about? The one against the Giants in the snow?
Favre had 3, I think.
When he threw, when
Browner, Browner's a Favre guy.
His face, what's his face?
5-3.
The guy from Coughlin, his face.
Tom Coughlin, yeah,
froze off. That was an NFC Championship game.
He had to have restorative David Hasselhoff skin surgery.
Are you going to count the NFC Championship game he took the Vikings to also? Or?
Yeah, that's 4.
Yeah.
Rodgers has had a Super Bowl.
I'm sorry.
The Seahawk one. He had the one against Atlanta.
You did not want to open.
Yeah. What else did he have? Is Rodgers only? He had the one last year. Duh. So Rodgers had 4 NFC Championship games, so they're tied there.
All right, tied.
All right. That's the thing. I like Rodgers. I think he's pretty. I think he battles through things. But when you're following Favre, you're never going to get the proper respect you deserve. If he was on any other team, people would be like, "Man, that guy, he guts through it. He comes back in and that game against the Bears was awesome. When he came back out at halftime after Brett Hundley gave the game freaking to everybody, and it just looked like garbage. And Khalil Mack
Sean
scored
Kaiser.
That was Kaiser at that time.
Yeah,
they looked the same. They both did the same thing. They get in the game and fumble, or they throw a pick, and then it returns for a touchdown. I couldn't tell who was who. That's like I said. Tim Boyle the other day got in there and went back for a pass and fumbled. I'm like, okay, honorary backup quarterback for the Pack has got to fumble every time he wants to attempt to pass. Good job. Anyways, Rodgers came back, and what did he do? Boom, boom, boom. Touchdown. Randall Cobb at the end, all the way 70 yards. Randall Slow Cobb. Nobody touched him. Even Khalil Mack couldn't catch him because he was so tired from running all the way down there. It was awesome. And that was when Rodgers played his best.
But his throw that he fit it. If you can hit a bomb to Geronimo Allison, damn. That is something almost nobody can do.
That gave Geronimo Allison. That gave him 2 more years with the Pack. That one play.
That's crazy. All right, hold on. Eric, I want to know this before we get into your Viking things and we talk more about Vikings.
Sure.
Sorry, everybody. I know. I don't know if this is a good show, but at least we got energy. Last Friday, I had no energy. I apologize for that. I apologize to Bruce. I apologize to Ekis. I don't apologize to Ben, but I apologize to everybody else. Now, Eric, since we're talking about Aaron Rodgers, I was just thinking about this week. I'm like, all right. So I'm trying to think about Packer fans and all this stuff and what some people complain about Rodgers and say this and that and whatever. Last week they're saying he's moody. I'm freaking moody. So I don't know. Does that make me a bad guy? Whatever. I'm all over the place too sometimes emotionally. Whatever. Now, Eric, as a non-Packers fan and a Vikings fan, what do you think about Aaron Rodgers? And would you like to have him on your team?
Well, of course I'd like to have him on my team. I mean, that's I don't care. I mean, as long as you're not like a Michael Vick type, I guess I don't really care what your personality is like. I think Kirk Cousins, a very likable guy, super nice dude. Not everyone's a huge fan of him, and I won't get into that at this moment, but I think Aaron Rodgers, I think he can polarize some people, not just because, Packers or Vikings or whatever. I think there's something about some of the things that he said and the relationships he's had. I know he's kind of estranged from his family. I mean, there's something there that obviously it rubs some people the wrong way. And, I don't know, there's an air about him that he's probably earned to have, I think. And that's fine as an elite quarterback in the league and certainly be a Hall of Famer. So I don't know. I can't blame him for that. Is he the most likable guy in the world? No, but I don't know. Do you have to be when you play the way he does? I don't think so. So, yeah, I'd take him. Want to trade?
For who? Cousins? No way.
Work something out.
We got some really bad GMing going on for a while now. So, you might be able to work something out. Oh, Packers. Okay, well, I just think people need to check themselves a little bit when they're complaining about Rodgers or picking him apart because he does a lot of good stuff. He's done a lot of good things. He doesn't get in trouble, all right? He's not in trouble. He's not out doing drugs. He's not getting in trouble with the law. He doesn't represent the organization in a bad way. He doesn't do, I don't know. Lots of guys get in trouble for a bunch of stuff, right?
Kind of a low bar, but it's true.
And on top of that, he does a bunch of stuff with charities. He gives plenty of money to stuff. He doesn't always make a big showing of it or make sure people know about it, but he's very generous with his dollars, his time, all this sort of good stuff. And he spent a lot of time, giving back. So I don't know. What do you want? What do you want? And I would say this. I think he's really, I like more seeing more how he is now than the early days when he was being really careful about everything he said and all that stuff. Cause he's like, I'm a new starter and I'm trying to, take it over for Brett Favre and blah, blah, blah. Just be who you are, man. As long as you're not a big jerk, I don't care. Mm-hmm. It's more interesting than Russell Wilson press conferences or Tom Brady press conferences, right? I don't know.
Can I just sidebar? Nothing is worse. And the guy is great to watch, but nothing is worse than Russell Wilson mic'd up. I mean, have you heard him?
Yeah.
I mean, oh my God. He says the same thing 3 times in a row, faster than anyone on the planet. He could be an auctioneer. He's just
go Hawks.
Something great's going to happen. Something great's going to happen. Something great's going to happen. I'm like, who is this? He's just got this little cheesy one-liners he just says all the time, these complete cliches and sports cliches everywhere. He just says them 5 times in a row as fast as he can. Have you heard this? I have to mute the screen. I can't stand it.
The weirdest part though to me is because there's been other quarterbacks like him as far as that were super positive and have been mic'd up and the one I think of right now is Tim Tebow. When Tebow was playing and he was mic'd up and he'd say something to a guy and he looked directly in the guy's face and you believed him. You believed what he was telling you.
Right.
Russell Wilson just seems like he's just a fake son of a gun. He's saying crap over, like you said, he says the same thing all the time. Mm-hmm. It's all rehearsed and even if he believes it, I don't. If I was his teammate, I wouldn't believe anything he says. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the reason why a lot of those defensive players were over the years with the Seahawks were just Russell Wilson, I don't like him. They didn't like him. And they all took off.
Yeah.
But Tim Tebow, who couldn't even throw a pass, every teammate he's ever had loved him. Why? Right. Because he's a legit guy.
Right.
And if you can believe in a guy, even if he stinks, but he gives you everything he had and he's honest with you, that's way more that's another thing Brett Favre had. He was just a guy, a regular guy, and that's the only thing I complain about Favre, and I say I hate him. I didn't really hate him, but like I hated his interceptions and all the dumb bonehead stuff he did. But as a guy and just being like a fan watching him or watching the mic'd ups, Brett Favre has got some of the best mic'd ups ever because he's just like, whatever, man. And you believe in that guy. But Russell Wilson, you can't believe anything he says.
Right.
No matter what you are or who you are. It just is so fake. And and that's why when he sucked last week, that was awesome.
with this Russell Wilson topic, that got Mom really going in the chat. I'll tell you.
Oh.
No, she's like chiming in. Yes. And knucklehead Wilson, blah, blah, blah. Mom hates Wilson. She just hates him. Holy cow.
She does. I don't know why she hates him so much.
And Dad gets him on his fantasy football team like the last 4 years. But when he first drafted Wilson, he's like, don't tell Mom. She's going to be mad. So they like keep it under wraps, When she finds out, she's like, Barry, do you have him again? Right. And she's, give me that. I'll trade him for you. Like, give me that phone.
That's
anyway,
awesome.
it's crazy how much Mom hates Wilson. Eka said he's on his second beer. I told him to keep drinking and the show will get better if he keeps drinking.
Hey, did you see Mom's other comments? I want to talk to Mo about that.
Roger said some nice stuff about Vikings coach. He always says nice stuff about
Vikings. He said he can't believe the talk that Mike Zimmer is on the hot. He's like, what?
Is that Mike Zimmer's awesome?
Now, my question is this. Is that Rodgers honestly believing that Mike Zimmer is a good coach?
Yes.
Or the fact that he's happy that Mike Zimmer is the Vikings coach?
Right. So this talk was talked about a lot locally on the radio and everything too.
I know.
Like, of course he likes, Zimmer because he's picked his defense apart the last time he played. I mean, it's obviously more the players. I mean, I heard Rodgers before say that he's always felt like it's a challenge going in against Zimmer's defense and everything, but I don't know. It's also maybe something he's starting to figure out a little bit too. So I don't know. I mean, it didn't seem ingenuine, but it's a little bit of that, the week of playing your rival speak, or the other team says nice things about the other team because they don't want any bulletin board material and everything like that. So I take it a bit with a grain of salt, but the performance of the team is what it is. It's a tough year. It's a challenging year and there's been injuries and whatever, but I mean, it's hard not to say he's a little bit on the hot seat here. I'm fine with Zimmer sticking around. I think maybe their GM Spielman could probably go, but a lot of them are saying that it kind of hitched to each other, but I don't know if that's fair or not, but it's a nice thing to say. I take it with a grain of salt.
I think it's interesting because Rodgers has always been really complimentary of coaches, especially that he thinks do really good things schematically, like regardless of whether the players execute it, he'll talk about certain coaches differently than, just your run of the mill coach or whatever you're going against. And Zimmer's always been one of those guys. And he brings that all the way back to Zimmer's time in Cincinnati. He thought he did such a great job there. And then, with the Vikings. And look, Aaron Rodgers had some of his worst games against the Vikings a number of years because it's tough to play. It's tough to play in that dome. And Zimmer's defense was good. You had good players, good scheme, all that sort of stuff. So I think in general, even though it's a tough year or a couple of years have been a little rougher, he's looking at the whole picture and really means it. That's what I think. But the other question about that head coach thing is it was the same thing with the Packers forever, right? Because they're looking at McCarthy and you got to consider, are you better? Who's gonna come in? Is that guy gonna be better or is that gonna be a worse situation? So I don't know. I think Zimmer's a good coach. I think what's going on maybe this year even more so is a little bit of the Dom factor, but that's just speculation.
What do you think of Kevin Stefanski's success with the Browns? Is that because I listened to some stuff around here, Vikings radio crap and other things, and they I remember earlier, not as much the last couple of weeks, but when the Browns were doing pretty good and especially after they had a really big game and won, and they ran for like 200 or 300 yards or some crazy number, running the ball or whatever. And the Vikings offense was sputtering and that sort of thing. And they were saying that, hey, we had our next head coach was on the team last year and we screwed up. We thought he was the problem. Maybe it was Kubiak that was the problem on offense, and we should have hung on to this guy. So I don't know if do you agree with that sort of thing? Have you seen enough from Kevin Stefanski and with the Browns to know that you guys maybe lost out on a guy, or I don't know.
Yeah, well, he was with the Vikings organization a really long time as an assistant and for like a long time, and he got his chances as coordinator, even though it was with Kubiak. But And there's a lot of things that said that he actually requested that, and it's hard to kind of read between the lines with some of that stuff. But I thought he was a really good coach, obviously with the organization a long time. But what do you do though? I mean, he had actually before that, before he even became a offensive coordinator, he was almost plucked away as an offensive coordinator somewhere else. And he gets the coordinator position, then he gets interviewed for head coaching. So, and you just made the playoffs and beat the Saints. You're not going to fire Zimmer and make him your head coach, right? If he gets a chance to be a head coach somewhere, he's going to go. So I don't know how you can block that. I mean, it's you don't want to deny that a guy either. So I was kind of bummed he left, but I'm glad he's having success, but it kind of is what it is. I don't know if it was just in the cards the way it kind of panned out. So
I have an interesting thought about Zimmer though. I'm wondering, because this is kind of what I feel too. I think there's a big, especially, and I think this is all ties back to technology, but I think there's a huge shift, obviously, generationally between players right now, older players in the league and a lot of newer players in the league, and then all of the players that are newly entering the league. And it's one of the reasons I think Mike McCarthy got stale. It's one of the reasons why I think a lot of these older coaches are now, kind of not having that much success, and why younger coaches are having a lot more success. And I just don't know if some of the older coaches, I mean, Zimmer's a pretty tough guy, pretty tough coach, pretty, I mean, he doesn't seem like a rah-rah coach. He seems like, hey, I expect you to do this. I'm a good teacher. I will show you respect, all that stuff, but he's not going to rah-rah guys, but he's not going to BS guys, and he's going to be tough on them and hold them accountable. And I just don't know if some of these younger players respond well to that older style or older mentality. I don't know. What do you think, Gary? You think that plays into any of these younger guys producing or stepping up or not relating to their coach?
Maybe I don't know if that's really the issue. I think about someone like Xavier Rhodes, who earlier on, and you guys have probably seen or maybe heard at least about the Hard Knocks thing with Cincinnati when Zimmer was there, and how he dropped F-bombs all the time and yelled at guys. And I think he did that a lot still and still does, but he realized, and there was like a whole.
Wow, then Ben could be a coach.
A good one, right?
I would be. I'd be damn good.
Okay.
And so but he realized like when he was doing that with Xavier Rhodes when he was like a rookie, he was just shutting down. So he just knew he had to have a different relationship with him. And there was a lot of talk about it, and Xavier Rhodes was opened up about it. And it obviously, for at least a while until he fell off a cliff, he was a really elite corner. And so I think he's smart enough Zimmer, I mean, is to kind of adjust, because you can't treat everyone the same, but you treat everybody fair. But there's a difference there, and I think he's smart enough to do that. He's still going to be himself. He's still going to be a bit gruff. Still someone that you don't want to mess with, and someone you don't want to fail. And I think that makes a good leader. So I still think he has the great leadership qualities. I don't know. I think scheme wise is still relevant what he does. And he kind of definitely just says, offense, I'm going to get someone else to do that for me, because I'm not going to pretend to be an offensive guy. So I think he's been smart enough to try to do that. So I'm still on board with him personally. It's a down year. I get it. Still 10 games left in the season, but it'll be interesting to see how the guys fight for him going forward. So
yeah, the Packers they had some bad years there for a while under McCarthy, and they turned it around. And maybe in the end that was bad, but it still saved those seasons. I got to say one quick thing for Mo, Ben, just following up on Zimmer. Sorry,
I'm talking about Zimmer. I was talking about.
Okay.
You,
All right. Go ahead.
Well, it's funny. So now I got to get it back in when it's funny, because if it's a big lead up now, it might not be as funny. So you do your thing, then I'll jab it in with the joke. Okay, go ahead.
Probably won't be funny.
It's going to be funny. Go ahead.
So with Zimmer, what do you think about his in-game decisions? Like, what about that part of his coaching? Is he good at making decisions in game? I don't really pay attention.
I think early on, as his head coach, he was bad. I think lately his challenges have been pretty decent for the most part. I know a lot of times coaches get advised on what to challenge and not, and people watching things, but I think he's done all right with timeouts and some of the clock management things, especially when you compare to other Viking coaches, which is a low bar, I realize. So
Mike Tice.
And Denny Green. Oh my gosh. I love Denny Green. God rest his soul. But that was one of his worst downfalls. But so I think he does okay with that. I don't have a big personal problem with that. And I mean, lately there's not been any relevant game management stuff to do anyway. So, and I think his halftime adjustments had been good in the past, and this year's been obviously a little different. But sometimes you're there's not much you can adjust when you're down like 24 at halftime. So, but I think it's always been good. I don't have a personal problem with it. Do you have different thoughts?
No, I just never paid attention to it, so I was curious because McCarthy was terrible at a lot of in-game stuff, which is what drove most of us nuts about him. And LaFleur seems to be better for the most part, although we're concerned about does he actually make adjustments, because it doesn't seem like he's going to make adjustments when stuff isn't working. So those are a few concerns we have about him. But Ben has pointed out numerous times that LaFleur is really good at making a plan, and when the plan works, it really works. It's just that when this plan doesn't work, it seems like he doesn't know what the hell to do, which is a bit of a concern.
Sure. But I think about that Denver, and you maybe didn't see that Denver game last year where they were down 20 points at halftime. I think only one team's ever come back to win in 100 games against a 20-point deficit. So, and they came back and won that game. So, yeah, I think he's smart enough to see what they're doing and how to adjust on the fly pretty well. So I've always been happy about that part of it. I think he's definitely a smart guy, knows what he's doing. But yeah, I think it's always worth a question, like, has the game passed him by or not yet? That's, can be relevant sometimes.
Well, when it comes to Zimmer's like decision making and also his relation with the young players, Jason is questioning, I think the answer can be, from what I've heard on Viking radio this week, apparently he's dating a former Maxim model. So any coach who's that's what I heard on the radio this week. If how old is right there? How old? That's what I'm saying. That's a good decision, and he's probably got legit cred with the young guys if he's dating a former Maxim model. That's all I'm saying. How old is that dude? And I don't know. I mean, I don't know how long Maxim has been around, but I mean,
right. He's in his
robbing the cradle. That guy.
He's like 67 or something.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Hey, that's a good decision, and he's relating with the young people. Obviously, he relates with somebody who's younger than him. So hey, there you go. It was funny. I told you.
It's pretty good. I actually didn't hear that. That was good.
I heard. I hope I didn't make that up. Maybe I misheard because I was driving the car with Olivia and she was talking. See, Olivia, whenever you drive somewhere with her, she just blab, talks a lot really fast. I only understand about 3 things she says because she's 14 now. So it's like, I don't know what she's talking about half the time. So, and I wasn't really listening to her and I was trying to listen to the radio, but every now and again I hear what she says. I got to make sure I don't hear something bad, like something I don't want to hear. So I got to keep my ear open for that. I just hear about, yeah. Well, she's not doing it.
Following in daddy talk, dropping the bombers.
No, she gets mad when I do that. Okay. She's still
pure of heart.
She's still like daddy's princess, as far as I can tell. But that's one thing that scares me though, because all last year when Olivia was in 8th grade, Grant's like, yeah, wait till Olivia gets to high school. She ain't gonna be innocent anymore. I'm like, Dad or Grant, what are you talking about, dude? Shut up. And he's like, I'm just telling you. And I'm like, dude, shut up. Don't ever say that again. So the fact that they've had no school because of COVID-19, she's been stuck at home the whole time. I'm okay with that. Because I don't know if Mo knows this, but in Algoma, good God, there's a couple, there'd always be senior guys, right, who were like low on the totem pole of getting the girls. Oh, yeah. As soon as the freshman girls came in, those senior guys would go after the freshman girls. And, for some reason, a couple of them would date these senior guys who were low on the totem pole of coolness. I never did that kind of crap. And I was low on the totem pole of coolness, let me tell you. But I didn't go after any young, like, freshman chicks or anything crazy like that. So, anyways.
During those times, it was really kind of like, what separated those guys was the mullet. Who had the best mullet had the best chance at those freshman girls.
See, and it brings me right back to Mike Zimmer. He's kind of like the old guy, the senior, who's going after the freshman.
Whoa! Rick looked it up. Zimmer's 64. His lady friend is 40.
Bam! Oh, that is some serious. Rick always looks up the stuff. Gosh, dang, Rick, you're the man.
Rick is plugged in to everything.
Thank you, Rick. We need to have Rick.
Knows a lot.
He's got to be the consultant on every show. I mean, I don't care where he is, what he's doing.
Well, he's definitely going to be a moderator for any other debate show that we do.
Mo, you need to go and watch our debate show. I know you haven't because you're a Viking fan, so you haven't. You're not a loyal Hafeman Bros listener, but you should really watch the debate show, especially stay till the end because there's some good questions you might like at the end that you would actually. I kind of want to ask Mo one of the questions right now.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, Mo.
Yeah.
One of the questions we had was, and I'm pretty sure you've done both games, basketball and football. Yeah. But remember, we were calling on the radio, right?
Yeah.
Was it more fun to do basketball or football as far as a caller? Now, I think you've done both color and play-by-play too, but I think you've done mostly color. But what's your opinion on the football versus basketball? Which would you rather call on the radio, or which would you have more fun doing?
I guess I always preferred football. I mean, basketball was a lot more comfortable usually because it wasn't freezing in the press box or whatever.
That was my point.
Yeah, I still remember. I mean, I've talked about this before. Like a game where Jason and I were in the booth and we saw this fly that was barely moving because it was so cold. And we're like, look at that fly. It was like during commercial break. It was like, can't even move because it's so cold. And like I had to keep moving the mic away from my mouth, my face when I had to sniffle, which was like every other second. And, but aside from that, I don't know. I've always been just a huge football fan anyway. So I always felt a little more engaged with that game and that part of the game. And I love basketball. Every time I call the game with like Jace or whatever, I'm like, yeah, I want to play some basketball. But I really want to play basketball now. And we had some really fun runs with basketball. We did some, got to go to the Kohl Center and stuff, which was fun. So that game was really fun too. And and then the Boyceville girls had just a great team for such a long time that some of those games were really fun too. So that was really maybe a little bit more fun just because the teams were better and a little bit more exciting. But as far as sports, I always liked football a little better. But it's fun. I miss those days.
You should watch our debate show, and you'll hear what Jason and I said about it.
All right.
Don't tell them that make it have to watch it. Then.
No, those girls were tough. They kick your butt.
They were. Yeah.
Hey, remember when you guys played him?
Jace got tired after like 2 plays and then wouldn't cover Brooke outside. She was killing us.
Yeah, the one team had like twins on it, and they were both very good. And one was more of an outside player, one was more of an interior player, but they can both do a lot of stuff. And so when we showed up, their coach used to have them practice against guys all the time to like toughen them up, make them shoot over taller players. So when they would play against teams they were playing, it would be easier for them. And we showed up there, and I mean, granted, we weren't like stud athletes or whatever. I mean, maybe Eric thought he was, but I certainly didn't. But Eric was taller. Eric was taller than me.
I was tall. I was just tall. That was it.
Yeah, he was taller than me. But right away, we showed up to this one practice because they invited us to come, and the two twins were like, "That's it. We're doing 2-on-2." And I was like, "Hey, we just got here, man."
You didn't warm up. No warm up at all.
And they just roasted us. Like they were running all over the place. I'm like,
they were. You were so tired.
This isn't like normal pickup basketball I'm used to. Usually we kind of stand around, lean on each other, and we're tired.
Yeah, that's because it's like us playing each other. We like,
it was easier for me. I could just stay in the paint and play defense. Jace had to run around and he got tired.
And I'll tell you what, like the first couple of times that I went for a rebound and they boxed me out, I almost got knocked on my ass the first time, and the second time I got that wind knocked on me. I was like, these girls are. I mean, this is just practice. What are they like in a game? I mean, they are physical, they are tough, they're fast.
They were good.
Good. Super good.
Yeah.
That's why I always got mad when some people would downplay girls basketball. I'm like, screw you, man.
No.
I watched some of the best games I've ever seen live are girls basketball.
It's true.
Those girls could play.
They
a bunch of boys teams I watched. I'll tell you that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Eric, I thought Ben was going to ask you the Lord of the Rings question.
Oh yeah.
But Rick wants us to ask you the Howie Long question.
Oh.
Which Howie Long movie? By the way, Rick says his answer to how he knows all these things is he just typed in Google in the chat. Now, Eric, apparently Mike Zimmer's social life is on Google, easily found. Mo, which Howie Long movie, this is one of the debate questions, was better? Was it Firestorm or The Long Road Home?
So is
no, not The Long Road Home, you ding dong. It's Firestorm or Face Off or Breakout or dang it, I forgot what it was. Rick, what is it? It's really bad. Trust me, it's Firestorm. Just say Firestorm.
So is there not a none of the above option in this question?
You have to pick one.
You have to pick one. I didn't see either of them, and I still picked one. So
you did not have to have a good reason, but you had to pick one.
Right. Even though you don't know the title of the other one, and Rick's not telling us here.
I don't think I've seen Firestorm.
Backdraft?
No,
Broken Arrow. I'm sorry, that's right. He was in Backdraft.
Broken Arrow.
Broken Arrow, yeah.
Oh, geez. Does this really matter?
It doesn't matter. That's the point.
That's why you answer this one quick. This was in the quick hitter
Okay, Broken Arrow. Then I guess
Broken Arrow.
Okay.
Right.
Wow, that's.
I don't have to explain it. You said so. So
that's
just move on. Move on.
That's good. That's good.
All right. So now we get to the more important question before we let you talk about the Vikings.
Okay.
What is your favorite? Was it favorite or?
It was favorite. It was favorite.
What is your favorite Lord of the Rings character in the Lord of the Rings movies?
Movies.
I don't read books. Movies.
Okay. Well, I read the books too, but Okay, so I have to say, the first time I saw the movie, it was with Ben. It was just like, second or third time seeing it in the theater at that point, I think. And I think he remembers, but actually, Ben, you can guess. Based off the first movie, who was my favorite character? Come on, Ben.
I think it was Aragorn, but I could be
wrong. Come on.
Legolas?
It was Legolas, yes.
Okay, all right. I knew it was one of those. You like Flash, so I knew it was somebody with flashy.
Yeah, I mean, he had like the two blades, and then he's like shot someone point blank. I'm like, what's that guy's name again? And then he told me.
Yeah.
So yeah, Legolas. Yep.
Does that have anything to do with your man crush on Orlando Bloom?
No, I don't have one.
Okay.
I think outside of that Pirates of the Caribbean, he's kind of been underwhelming in a lot of ways, but he's good in that one, I thought.
But the best Legolas you could have imagined.
Yeah, he's good.
He was pretty good Legolas.
Yeah.
Well, Ben and I had different answers to that, but you have to watch.
Yep, you got to watch to find out.
All right, now back to football. First of all, Rick says what I was thinking, which is that Moe picked Broken Arrow because he's a Travolta guy. That was the movie that John Travolta was in as well.
I remember that. I think it's the only one that I actually have seen that you guys mentioned. So there you go.
Fair enough.
Well, Moe did like doing disco dance moves.
Well, I had a limited repertoire to pull from when it came to that.
You were good at the point and lean. That was your number one move.
Yeah. Yep. Well, yeah. Like I said, limited repertoire. So,
all right, Eric.
Well, I guess I would win that question too. There's a lot of good questions in this debate, Mo. At the end.
Yeah, I'll be sure.
Most of them are Packer related, but we just gave you like pretty much all the ones.
You know, I liked the end of your last show when you were talking about Justin Jefferson, Ben.
Oh,
hey, I was wrong.
I'm gonna leave you guys here for a minute. You guys talk about it.
I was wrong, Mo. I mean, okay. You do have to admit when you go back and watch LSU video, he did have a huge cushion. He did play in the slot. He did always have freaking free releases. He was never the number one option on the play.
Third option on the team with over 100 catches and 18 touchdowns.
He was the third option on the play.
Yeah.
Watch the video. I watched 3 games. And
maybe he was looking off the safeties. You ever think about that, Ben?
Oh, he was really looking them off. We were like way looking them off. Anyways.
Ostrich.
Plus, not only that, he had all those other guys that were on the team, like Clyde Edwards-Helaire and I don't know the other 2 guys, the tight end and number 1 and number 2 and whatever. I think he was number 2, and number 3, whatever. They're all like 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 or something. Anyways, but I will say this: he seems to run good routes. That's good. He catches the ball. That's good.
That's good. All good things.
The only thing I don't like is he's got some lame, stupid dance he does when he scores a touchdown. I don't know what it is, where he hops and does some weird looking dumb thing, and I want to punch him. If it was me, I'd punch him. You know who he reminds me of? I'm going to say this. He reminds me of Jimmy Butler, a guy who needs to be punched in the face. So
how about that?
That's the only thing I could say.
That's a little harsh.
So, hey, I'm just saying the way his touchdown dance at the end is a Jimmy Butler type thing.
It was all the rave. He got some attention. And I think it's okay to have a little swagger, especially when you're replacing a guy like Diggs, who had swaggered maybe too much, right? So I don't think it's too much. Okay to have a little bit of celebratory things going on when you make a 77-yard touchdown for the first score of your NFL career. You can be a little excited, right? I mean, Brett Favre's done crazier things.
Just you don't have to go and say all that stuff like 75-yard touchdown score, blah, blah, blah.
Well, it was.
Whatever. So Robert Tonyan scored 3 touchdowns on Monday Night Football. Was he doing some crazy dance?
He probably couldn't do it.
Robert Tonyan, dang it!
He probably has my dance repertoire. That's why he didn't do it.
Well, Jamal Williams is.
Can I just say this? Why Jamal Williams? He does the same thing every time, and it's not really. It's just like a little hip shake and arms up. It's like just because you put your arms in the air doesn't mean you're a good dancer. Can I just say it?
Eckes lived off that for years and years in cabaret. For some reason, he was always in the front row. Go back and watch the videos. He's not that good. Why is he in? I was a much better dancer than Eckes, and everybody knows it. But somehow Eckes always got front row in the middle. Him and Fatty Horn. Why him and Horn in the front middle? I don't know. Horn he couldn't even keep a steady beat. We know that from being in SMM with him. He had an issue to keep a steady beat. And Eckes had like 2 moves. It was always like this. Yeah, he could never move his neck. His arms was always like this. That's what he looked like when he danced. I mean, come on.
Well, just because you had the chicken
right,
neck,
Eckes,
you could do whatever.
Ask Jen Nichols, whatever, Eckes. Jen Nichols knows. She knows that I should have been in the front always. And there's only one time where I got to be, and that was during Thriller, because I was the guy who did the Michael Jackson head thing, and I killed it. When you watch that video, oh man, I was the man. I was the man.
Why don't you put that stuff up on the Hafeman Bros channel?
I don't have it. It's on Tim McManus's.
Find it. Tim McManus. He's going to do his light
page.
show coming up. Get the video from
Tim McManus is an awesome freaking guy. Can I just say, awesome. Tim McManus was one of the best awesome dudes I ever met in my life.
Super dude.
Another baritone. Oh, most of the baritones, you meet a baritone.
Baritones are good people.
Guy.
Baritones are good people.
Eckes, awesome guy. I know I'll give him crap, but that's just because he's so freaking awesome. You got to give him crap just to make it. See, Eckes, I say nice things about you too. Eckes, Tim McManus, Corey Newman, Moe, me. Obviously, I was baritone at first, and I moved to tenor because they realized you're too good to be a baritone. That's for the guys who have no range.
Oh, okay.
Hey, Moe, you were a good singer with no range. It's not your fault. I mean, I had a great range. You had a crappy range, but you were still a really good singer. That's just the way it goes.
Thank you.
You didn't sing along with Lane Staley growing up. If you would have sang with Lane Staley growing up, you would have the range like Lane Staley.
I don't think it works that way, but thank you.
Anyways.
And if you got like a stretchy neck like Ben, you can actually stretch your vocal cords to gain more range.
That's how it is.
Yep. The flex neck.
Eckes, our house for a couple of years there. So Eckes says the reason why he got the #1 spot was because the parties are always at his house, and they usually were at his house.
Oh.
And then he also said that I was great.
Grossest house.
You're right, Eckes. See, Eckes is backing me up. I was great on Thriller. Boom.
It's true. I can't believe you lived at that house. It was so gross.
It was disgusting. It was the most disgusting house. I'll never forget when we moved out and Mom and Sarah had to help us clean it out. And Sarah, like, she was like gagging me. She's like, and like scrubbing down the floors. And she's like, "You guys ever clean this bathroom?" And we're like, "No." And not in 2-3 years.
Oh my gosh.
And Dad went in there. And he came out 4 hours later. But it looked good after he came out.
My goodness.
Actually, I don't remember. I can't remember if Dad did it or not. But I just remember Sarah's face because she was like a senior in high school or something when we moved out. And Mom and Dad brought her along to help clean the house. And
poor kid.
She couldn't believe it. But hey, she worked harder than I did that day. I know that. I don't even remember what I was doing.
Wow. Bad.
And then we had
how did we get here from Justin Jefferson? Like,
hey, don't worry, because I'm trying to change the subject. I don't want to talk about it anymore.
No, it totally ties in. It's like the weave of consciousness. He just got out of college, so then we brought us right back to college.
Hey, I gotta say one funny story. We gotta talk about the famous, the burnt pizza fiasco.
Oh my God, that was insane.
I gotta say this story. It doesn't have Moe wasn't there. Okay, Moe was in the Innocent Men with us a cappella group. He actually took my spot. But it was awesome because the last semester before we left, we had the audition. So we knew he was going to be replacing me. So we got to do a couple songs with us. But this happened, I think, before he was in the group. Actually, I think it was our last semester. No, yeah, I don't know what it was. Yeah, it was our last semester. And so we were supposed to sing for the national or some kind of honors thing. And it was like this big wig, like UW Eau Claire honors students gala, like luncheon thing.
Okay, let me interject.
Like big thing. Yeah,
I know what it was.
Okay.
Yeah, it was something that Ben and I would never be invited to.
Yeah, never. Yeah,
because it was like academic honors.
Yeah.
Society or whatever. Yeah. Okay, continue.
It was like super smart, like the top smart kids in college, right? Okay.
Smart and good students.
Yeah.
We were neither.
I was. Yeah. Well, I'm kind of smart. Anyways, and I had we were supposed to dress up. We were going to wear suits and all this other stuff, right? And I had a suit coat, and Jason had a suit coat, and we had another suit coat. And one of the guys in our group, Countryman, didn't have a suit at the time at school, and And I was like, well, I got a spare one, so you can just wear mine. Even though he's a kind of shorter guy, but it was like a, it still would have fit him fine. It was fine. And I was like, I'll keep them at my house and I'll bring them all on Saturday morning, because it was a Saturday morning thing after Friday night. So we're doing our thing. That night I go to bed, everything's fine. And I wake up in the morning and something smells kind of weird. And I'm like, what's going on? And I walk outside, or I open my door to my bedroom, and I see nothing but smoke. Like smoke, like fire smoke, like firestorm smoke, Rick. And I'm like, oh my God. And I'm like, what's going on? I'm running around and I'm like, holy crap. And I'm banging on the doors, yelling at guys. And I run downstairs, and Sean and Ekus are still sleeping. I don't even know what they're doing. I run downstairs. There's smoke everywhere. McWeeney's passed out on the couch. And I run into the kitchen to see, because that's where the smoke was, mostly coming from. And McWeeny had put a frozen pizza in the oven when he got home from the bars at like 3:30 in the morning, 2:30 in the morning. He left the cardboard in there for some reason, and he forgot that he started the pizza. He went on the couch and passed out. Okay, so then the pizza burnt for like 7 hours. Oh my God! And the stink got everywhere. And I don't know how Nick didn't know what was going on, because Nick was down. Nick's bedroom was downstairs. He should know what's going on. Nick, everybody knows the show. You've seen Nick. He's been on Hafeman Brothers before. And anyway, to make a long story short, all the suits, everything in the house, all of our clothes, everything reeked of smoky pizza smoke smell. Like just awful, god awful stink. Like the worst smell of all time. Like you couldn't get away from it. And it wasn't like, and I'm not saying like a little bit, like it's almost like those people I talked about that Rick knows about at Denny's, when they come out only on Tuesdays and Denny's let them in, and miles away where they were. Yeah, you could tell where we were if we had to wear these suits. But we agreed to wear the suits. So I was like, I'll bring them. I don't know what else to do. So I brought the suits, and we smelled them, and we were looking at them like, oh. And I tried. And when I drove, I had my windows open in the car. And then when I went to the Davies Center, I was running, or whatever it's called. I was running them with them, trying to get them aired out, whatever. And I brought them in. Me and Jace and Countryman, and we're smelling them. And Mike Ryan and those guys, and we're like, okay, what do you think? Should we wear them? And everybody's like, well, I mean, these guys are wearing suits. Like Mike Ryan's like, I'm wearing my suit. And I'm like, God dang it, Mike Ryan, your dang suits. And then I was like, well, I mean, they don't smell that bad, right? And we were outside at the time. So we were like, oh yeah, I think we can get away with it. So we wear them and we go in there, and it was just the most embarrassing thing. Because here's the worst part. It wasn't that we just had to go in and sing in front of people. That would have been fine. They wanted us to eat with them. And they had open spots at tables. And so we were all at like different tables, sitting mingled in with this, because they wanted us to mingle with the people there. So I'm sitting there next to, like, as close to like my shoulder to shoulder with somebody, as I sit there and smell like smoky pizza at this honors convention.
Yeah, you just smelled like burnt.
It was terrible. It was one of the worst experiences I've ever had as far as being embarrassed. And I've been embarrassed a lot, but mostly because it was like, because they were so, it was such a very important, prestigious type thing.
Yeah.
We were really happy to sing at. And it's just one of those things where, what happened to us. It was like the Statesman and Innocent Men. We'd have something dumb would happen. It probably got better once we left, I'm guessing, Mo, but who knows?
And
so that's the story of the smoky pizza, McWeeny pass out pizza.
Right before that, I had dreams of getting into the Honor Society, but they were gone. They were gone. And actually, one other side note about that pizza. All right. So here's what happened. This is my recollection.
Well, you tell me.
I didn't live at the house. I just went to the house to visit Ben or whatever, and whatever. So, okay. So we got to the house. So all somebody did, whoever the hell figured out, I don't remember, Ben, you might know who found the pizza.
I think it was
all
me.
that happened. It was you.
I know what you're saying.
Whoever found the pizza, it was like a charcoal, a giant piece of a charcoal. That's what it was. I mean, it was burnt all the way through. It was all black. Everything was black because it had been baked for 7 hours. And the person who took it out, which I guess is Ben, they walked it, they took it out of the house and set it next to the back door, like right next to the step going into the back door. And that's where they set it. And that's where it stayed for like 5 months. every time I went back to the house, here's the freaking charcoal pizza sitting next to the back door. I'm like, why doesn't anybody just throw that away? What the hell? What is the deal here? I mean, if you're going to memorialize it, then do something like put it in a case, put it in, frame it. I don't know. Something. But why you just set it next to the back door and it just stayed there for half a year? It was insane. But it was a reminder. Maybe it was a reminder for McWeenie never to.
Well, yeah, that's what it was. That's what it was.
Okay, all right.
That makes sense. I mean, geez, Louise. Okay, I'm sorry I derailed the show there with that, but if anybody's seen the movie Animal House, that's pretty much what we lived at. The Pink Palace was a complete disaster.
Eka says we needed that all the time, and those were different pizzas. It was the same pizza because it had a crack in it. It actually cracked apart because it was so brittle, and that same pizza was there for that long, I guess. But I'm sure there were others. I'm sure they happened more than one time. Yeah.
I have a short story about the Pink Palace since Ekus is listening too. It's short.
Okay, go for it.
I had my very first beer at the Pink Palace as like a full beer, like not just like taste one, like full beer. I didn't drink in high school, and I went there is a statesman party, right? And I wasn't going to actually have beer. I went there with the intent of just like having the soda option or whatever that they always talk about. That's a big lie, but
we never.
Right. They would say like, well, you could have soda if you don't want to, not pressure. It's just camaraderie, blah, 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 blah. But anyway, so I get there. I'm like, I'm not going to drink it. Then Ekus is there at the door and he's like, no, you should here. And he like, I can't remember what he said because it was like 10 million years ago, but he basically talked me into having my first beer. I think I had like 1.5 and I got like a terrible headache. And I'm like, this is stupid. But obviously things changed after that. But yeah, Ekus talked me into having my first beer.
That's interesting because Ekus left a comment that we haven't said yet. He said, Mo, you always drink good beer. He wanted to know what you're drinking right now. You were just taking drinks of.
It's nothing crazy. The Sam Adams Oktoberfest. They make a good Oktoberfest, I think. And so I've always liked Sam Adams' version of that. But otherwise, I'm kind of an IPA guy. But that's what I'm having tonight. Nothing crazy.
It's one of your last couple of days to get it in. That's well done.
Yeah,
well done,
yeah.
Eric. You're always well prepared, and you always do very sensible things.
Yes, Mo,
always.
Yeah,
most of the time. out of all the people I knew in college, Mo, you were probably top notch, most sensible. No doubt.
Again, a low bar, but
sorry to interrupt. Eka says, well, Mo, you're welcome for that inaugural Busch Light of your life and career.
Yeah.
I'm glad you liked it.
Eka's changed my life. Yeah.
Opened you up to the wonders of Busch Light.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you saying that Ekus created you? Oh my God. Ekus creates everybody. This is ridiculous.
No,
I wouldn't go that far.
Yeah.
Well, he created Lauterbach. Can you back me up on that, Mo? Lauterbach was nothing until Ekus created him.
Lauterbach's a big deal now. You know that? He's like this nonprofit consultant out of like Chicago or whatever. I forget what the heck his business name is, but he's created his own business. He's like helps all these nonprofits make a bunch of money. He tried to help me make money, and I was like, man, I'm sorry, Lauterbach. I just remember you from the guy in college. I can't do this.
Right. Good for him.
It is good for him. I'm happy for him. He's a nice guy. No, actually, the truth is, it didn't work out for us to work together. It wasn't that I just denied him like that, but he is. Yeah, he's like rocking stuff. So
that's good.
Congrats, Mr. Lauterbach. Maybe you were entertaining in cabaret. I'll give you that. Maybe not a great dancer, but most of us weren't. So who the heck cares? All right, let's get back to football here. I got to try to get the show back on. Look, I don't know if this is a good show, but at least we're giving it our best effort. I always told you that, right? We always are going to give you our best effort. It might not always be a good show, but at least we're going to try hard and try to bring energy. Now, Ben, one quick thing before we go into the football. Eka says this is a crazy show. I said drink more and it'll get better. And that's true. Always a true statement. But one thing about that Balaz said in like his last comment after watching our last show, he said our show has a McAfee vibe to it.
It does tonight.
I took that as a huge compliment.
Yeah.
That's nice. I like that. And actually I explained it to, I told my friend Weasel, I told Weasel about that comment because I was telling about our international viewers, that we're now international Hafeman Bros. And
I have one viewer that's not from America. That's international.
We have a couple. There's one from Italy. There's one from Mexico as well.
All right.
Anyway, so different continents, also different countries. Okay. Anyway, so the point is, I was saying to him that So McAfee's probably better, and funnier than both of us. But AJ Hawk is kind of, he's not as exciting or engaging or he's well spoken, but not as exciting or engaging or as either of us. So I think like you and I kind of in between there, somewhere in between like McAfee and AJ Hawk. But because we're both kind of in there, we kind of elevate our show up that we're on par or we're close to par with the McAfee show.
Yeah, that's what we keep it clean most of the time.
Yeah, we don't drop the Fs and all, except for Ben a couple weeks ago. Watch out! You can find the hidden F in that show. Woo! That one surprised me because I was like, "Oh, I didn't have a button."
I don't even know what I was doing. It just happened. I gotta be honest. Hey, now that my kids are older, it comes out way more. Did I ever tell you? Okay, we're gonna. This show is terrible.
Just wait. I want Moe to talk about his Vikings. Dang it, we haven't.
No, we're talking about
one wants to hear that.
Right.
Hey,
well, I do want to hear about the Vikings, but I got to say one thing was the master of Wild Man Dude. He was the master of colorful language, and the only color he used was F word. That was the only color that happened, and there was a lot of them for just about everything. I mean. He hates ants. He hates a lot of things. Like, whatever something would happen, he would just be like, and mom would be like, would you stop that in front of, in sort of the kids and whatever. And anyway, when I was a kid, I had a bad thing where like it was third grade and there were kids, Brian Flood, who was like the smartest kid in our class. I think he was the valedictorian or whatever, salute to Victorian or whatever there was. Anyways, in third grade, he bet this other kid. He's like, "Hey, I bet you Ben can't go 5 minutes or something like that without saying the F word." And this other kid was like, "Whatever," or maybe it was 10 seconds. It was like something like that. And this is third grade. And the other kid was like, "Oh yeah, he won't do that. He can't. Yeah, I'll bet you $5 for that. Whatever, blah blah blah." And $5 back then, that was a lot of money,
Yeah.
And I don't know what he said to me, but it took 2 seconds, and I was already letting it go way back in third grade. So 9 years old.
Oh
sorry, Mom. And I should tell that story. It has to do with the Big Palace too. Oh my God.
No, you can't.
No,
here's the thing. I have to tell it. Big Palace swear story.
No.
I'm gonna bring back a bad memory for Mom. I'll make it short. I promise.
All right.
So I'll make it as short as I can. So for years, so since third grade, I had a bad potty mouth. Okay, really bad, but I never ever swore in front of my mom because I remember how mad she would get about dad swearing in front of us. So I was like, okay, I'm not going to say anything in front of mom. I got to make sure I never say anything in front of mom. And I was always very respectful. I didn't go and forge their names onto the football permission slip so I could play football like my brother did because my mom didn't want me to play football because she thought I would get killed because I was 5'11 and a half and 130 pounds and had asthma. So she wouldn't let me play football. And I thought there was a rule where Jason wasn't allowed to play football too, but somehow he went to practice for 2 weeks and nobody knew about it because he forged mom or dad's signature on the permission slip so he could play football. But that's besides the point. No, you stay muted. No, you're muted. We know it's true. Anyways, so fast forward from 9 to 21, I think I was years old at this point, and it was at the Pink Palace, and we were getting ready to go on Statesman tour to Europe. And it was super exciting. Eckes would know. He was my roommate the whole time. We were hanging out the whole time, right? Played like 75,000 games of euchre up there. Okay. So we were mom was there to visit. She came to hang out with us. We were supposed to go and perform at a show or something like that right before we left. I can't remember exactly what it was. But she was going to drive home because she had a long drive home. But I was like, "Oh, you should stay for the show, Mom. You stay for the show." And she's like, "No, I can't. I got to go. I don't want to drive home in the dark by myself." Because she came by herself to help me out that time. I had to bring some stuff for me so I could be like suitcases and whatever. So then she's like, "Okay, well, I'm going to go." And I was like, "Okay, that's fine, Mom." And I kind of looked sad because I was kind of, like I wasn't going to see anybody, Mom and Dad, for 3 weeks and going to Europe for the first time. And I was kind of nervous about doing all that stuff and wondering what it was going to be like and blah, blah, blah. So she leaves and I come back in the house and McWeenie's there. And he's like, "Hey, Ben, why don't you drive me to McDonald's?" Because he didn't have a car and I had a car. And I was like, "I don't want to drive to McDonald's." And like 2 minutes later, he's like, "Ben, drive me to McDonald's real quick before you guys leave." I'm like, "No, walk to McDonald's, you lazy bum. We got to go to this thing soon." And then he kept doing it. And finally it was the fourth time. And then finally I looked at him and I went like this. And I was like, "God, mother effing, I'm not going to effing drive your effing lazy effing butt to effing McDonald's. So stop effing asking me. And I turned my head like this, and I heard this. And I looked over like this, and I was like, hi, Mom. And that was how she found out. I had one sentence where I dropped about 6 F-bombs in it because I was so sick of people asking me, because she felt guilty about leaving because I made her feel guilty because she's a Catholic. So, she felt guilty. So she came back to come to the concert, and she walked in the door right when I was doing my F-bomb rant. That was the first time Mom ever heard me swear. That was the first time she ever thought I was not a good, holy child. And all she did, she looked at me, and she turned around and ran out the door. And I was like, oh, crap. And I was like, then of course I said F. And then I ran after her, went outside, and I was like, Mom, calm down. And she's like, no, I got to go. And I was like, Mom, calm down. It's okay. Listen, I've been swearing like this since I was like 9 years old. And she's like, no. And I was like, listen, I know. Listen, it's just the way it is. You got to calm down, Mom. I love you. I'm sorry. I know this is a huge shock to you and all this kind of stuff. And she's like, okay. But finally I got her to calm down. She stayed. She went to the concert. I got to give her a nice hug, and I think she was okay after that. And I have to just apologize. My mom is a great lady, super, super devout Catholic, super awesome. Never swears, she just says stinking a lot. That's her go-to swear word, is stinking. She's got a stinking, everything stinking. But she doesn't use any swear words or whatever. So that's my story about my mom and the F word. But here's the other story I got. Hold on, I'm almost done.
Oh my gosh!
Just wait. I have a couple of questions. And first of all, Bernard is saying some things here. Bernard says, Ben, you need to be in a movie one day. And I'm sure you probably agree with that. You probably thought he should be in a movie already.
I could write a movie about all the stupid crap that's happened to me. Yes, it would be a great movie.
I have two things. And before I forget, because my brain is still not
okay. I'm sorry. I know I'm taking over the show.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
I'm sorry, Mo.
Number one. Did you really say all those F's, but you said to Weenie effing butt? Did you really use the word butt in there?
No.
Okay, good. Because I'm like, if you're dropping all that, really, come on, man.
I'm trying to be respectful on the show here.
Okay. Well, I guess, and then the other part about this is, I remember this was a real concern when I talked to Ben about starting to do this show live. Not that when we recorded it, he wasn't like swearing or anything or whatever, but he's like, man, then I got to really make sure that what. So I think you.
Listen, I look like dad. I talk like dad. It's the scariest thing in the world. When every day I look in the mirror and I'm like, gosh, dang it. It's like dad. Everything is dad. And listen, my dad's awesome too. We got 2 awesome parents. We really do. I mean, they're awesome. They're awesome.
They're pretty awesome.
But for God's sake, I look just like dad. I act like dad. I talk like dad. I get really mad like dad. I scream and yell about stuff like dad. I mean, it's crazy how much it's almost like I'm a carbon copy of the dude. Okay, one more thing real quick.
Wait, I want to finish.
And then I'm done. I won't talk anymore.
One little statement. Just it's important.
I won't talk.
I just want to get right.
I'm gonna put myself on mute. I promise.
I just want people to understand, as you're watching our program, understand the struggle within for Ben this whole time. It's incredible. The intestinal fortitude that he must have,
dude.
To overcome. All right.
The hardest was draft night. That was the hardest to not do it.
Oh, I know. Oh my God. I know. I want.
And you can watch me. I'm like sitting there and I'm like,
it was such a good.
All I did was go, why? I didn't know what else to do. I was like,
so good.
I want to say another 4-letter word, but I can't, or whatever. Why is a 3-letter word? Anyway,
but instead of why, you were really thinking.
Yes.
A whole other word that you would have liked to repeat over and over just as emphatically. Now,
I'm trying to get back to what I was good
already, so we can hear about
I was going to say, because I was talking about my daughter, so I'm going back to that. So when my kids were little, I tried to, because like I said, I don't know if I swear because of dad. I don't think I do. I think it's genetics I think it's the way it is. I think it has nothing to do with hearing dad swear. I think it's the way it is. But anyways, so when my kids were little, I promised Jesse, I was like, listen, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to swear in front of the kids, whatever. So what I did was I created this fake swear word. It's called muckachuchka. And then if I got really mad, it was muckadachuchka. Okay. So when something bad would happen, because I'd have to be really mad and I'd have to consider myself. And you're thinking, well, what's a stupid thing to say? And I'm like, yeah, it is. I made it up. It's a dumb word, right? I'm just like, muckachuchka. I get mad, like, muckachuchka. Whatever. I'm like, son of a mucka, whatever. And I'd say stuff like that. And I thought I was like, okay, I'm doing good. And then one day, Olivia was doing something and she dropped something and stuck her toe and she goes like, muckachuchka. And I'm just like, Oh, good thing I did that. Good thing I didn't say the F word all those times, because she knows what it means. And then she thought Makachuchka was the real, like, you know, you say something you say when something bad happens. And I had to get her off of that. But that was the Makachuchka experiment. So it's a weird, that's the end of the story. I'm done.
All right, you're done. I'm glad
because
Rick just made me laugh my butt off here, because he's like, he realized that we really haven't talked about Packers this whole time. He's like, this is the longest intro to a show ever. Because this is what we kind of do. We get off track and we kind of talk about our lives a little bit, and we give you some insight, and we go off on other tangents.
Just imagine if I actually drank alcohol. How crazy would I be then? Yeah.
That's
okay.
dangerous.
I'm going back to New York. See you. Bye.
I'm choosing to be in a good mood.
He really muted himself.
Well, he needs to. He needs to. God. All right, Eric. This was supposed to. I apologize to you now. This was supposed. I think I told you this was going to be your platform to come on and tell us about the Vikings.
So it's good. It's good.
Please tell us about what's. Okay, you remember the first game against the Packers. You've seen the Vikings since then. As we bring it back to football, for anybody, if anybody's still listening that cares about football, we'll bring it back. What do you think the Vikings have? What kind of chances? What do they need to do? What can we expect to see from here? That's too many questions. All right. What can we expect to see from the Vikings on Sunday?
Good question. So it's going to be an interesting game, because, you know, in the NFL, it's especially these days, there's certain games that can kind of define your season a bit. I think you look at that Seahawks game that was on national television, and probably most people saw it, and it's probably the best game the Vikings played, that they found a way to lose there, or you know, Russell Wilson pulled rabbit out of his hat in a couple fourth downs, and you know, those sorts of things. But you come away, if you pull out that win, you're 2-3 instead of 1-4 coming home against Atlanta. You got maybe some swagger, some confidence, and you get this bad layover for Atlanta, and you just lose to a bad team, and things start to spiral, right? Like some of those times, just winning one of those games that's at 1 point lost the Titans to, that it just affects the whole rest of the season. Having like a solid start, it doesn't have to be like an amazing start, but having a solid start is important, and it can change everything. Now you got talking about Zimmer should be fired or not, and all these sorts of things now, and then they interesting bye week, right? Because they trade away Unique Ngakoue, who they had just traded for this season. And that's obviously deflating. He had 5 sacks in 6 games with the Vikings. I mean, he was playing well. So obviously that's a business move. It looks a lot like, well, they're cashing in on the season, right? So how does a team respond to that? How do coaches respond? How do fans feel about that? You're going to a bye week, and now you're coming out against your rival. Like what do you expect? So, you know, there's all the coach speak that you're hearing all week. You know, the season's not over. There's 10 games left. All this stuff, like, well, you just trade away one of the better defensive players you have, and you know, 2 other best ones are on IR now. And so, I mean, it doesn't inspire a lot of hope. So I'm really interested to see how they're going to respond, because I'm not really very optimistic, but it's, to me, will be very telling how they show up in this game, how hard they play, you know, how they respond to Zimmer, and how they kind of can rally people around a bye week like this and a season start like this. Would be interesting. But I think personnel wise, it's not really good right now for the Vikings on defense. I mean, so Danielle Hunter's officially on IR for the season. Anthony Barr was already on IR for the season. And then some of the cornerbacks that had started to play better, right? Remember, we didn't have a preseason. They were young. A lot of them didn't really know what they could do well and not do well, and they were starting to figure that out. Looked really good last few games. Well, the top 2, Hughes and Holton Hill, both didn't practice this week so far. Cameron Dantzler, the rookie, on the COVID-19 list, so he won't be playing. So we got the first-round rookie Jeff Gladney and Mark Fields II, who they've kind of had on and off the roster the past. He was probably going to start his first game ever. So, and depth after that, even Chris Boyd has had injury issues. So there's really, the corners are even worse than the first game. So there's that.
That's
and
good
you
to
don't
know. Good to
and
know.
you, and you don't have Unique Ngakoue, who's the only pass rusher that's really shown up so far this year. So given what happened in the first game, it's really hard to think that things is going to be any better on the defensive side of the ball. But like I said, guys are going to get a chance, and we'll see what they do. But I think the offense is really going to have to kind of just keep up is really the best chance and try to keep the ball away. Cook has to have a big day for them to have a chance, and Cousins has to play a hell of a lot better. I mean, he's making mistakes that he doesn't normally make and maybe pressing. I don't know, but I mean, he's throwing a lot of interceptions, and so I think they got to protect the ball, keep the ball, and try to go score for score, because I think it's going to be tough.
Well, a couple of points. I mean, the Packers only have 3 turnovers that their defense has gotten through 5 games or 6 games. So they're not good at getting the ball. So that, is a good sign for you. It's interesting hearing about some of that stuff because you're down all those corners. That's tough. I mean, we've seen that too. We're lucky. The Packers have actually been pretty fortunate that, I was never a big fan of Kevin King anyway, but he's been gone. But Josh Jackson, who was kind of like a forgotten guy, who was a 2nd-round pick, has been playing good the last 2 weeks. Like, he's really shown some really good stuff. So I'm happy with him finally getting on the field, and that spot versus kind of like the dime spot and then trying to play differently. He's outside corner. He's manned up a lot, and he's showing good instincts. Like Ben and I have noted, he's had 2 really big attack plays against the run on 3rd downs to stop drives in the last 2 games, where he's covering a receiver, he sees it's a run, and instead of standing there like a lot of corners do, he attacks, he's unblocked, and he makes a tackle. So, Packers have been pretty fortunate with that. The one tip I would give your Vikings is there is still a guy out in Montreal that might be available, that might be better than anybody you have on the roster, Marc-Antoine Dequoy. You might be able to pick him up and plug him in. But anyway, other than that, I'm excited about what you're saying as a Packers fan, because I'd like to see another 40 point game or so. That would be cool.
Yeah, and I think as far as the passing game, there's just really thin at corner and injuries, and obviously no Danielle Hunter or Barr. It's there's no reason to think that, barring a different game plan. Now, I actually think, given that, you might actually see more blitzes than normal from Zimmer. I think they're gonna want to make sure he doesn't have time to pick these guys apart. So on the flip side, blitzing puts them on an island sometimes, but I think you force them to cover for a shorter period of time. I just have a feeling, especially with knowing Ngakoue now, that he's gonna have to dial up some pressure somehow. So, and just play aggressive that way and see what happens. But it'll be a bit of a chess match that way. But they still have the 2 good safeties, and hopefully they can cover for some mistakes, but sometimes you just can't. So it'll be interesting to see what he, with the bye week, what he's kind of come up with. So it's just really frustrating too. You come out of a bye week and you still got all these guys hurt. Like, isn't that when you're supposed to get healthy? These guys weren't that dinged up going in, and now COVID and everything else, and it's now it's a big mess. So
yeah, there's another guy on the Vikings got COVID today too.
Oh yeah.
What's that?
There's another guy on the Vikings who
another one
on COVID list. Yeah, like he's like a linebacker, backup linebacker or something. So it's not like,
well, they need those now because Barr's out, so it's fine. Just throw it in the pile. It's fine.
Aaron Jones is out. Aaron Jones is out. If that helps.
I was gonna say, even though you have all these guys out on defense, Mo, guess what? Swerve and Urban hasn't played in weeks. Lazard is just getting off IR. Aaron Jones is out. MBS can't catch.
Yeah, that's true.
Mercedes can't run, and sometimes he misses his blocks. To be honest, from watching the All-22, he's not as good a blocker this season as he has in previous seasons. He still gets all the accolades. Everybody says how good he is, but he's missed a lot of, he just whiffs on guys sometimes.
He's a great leader, though.
Yeah, he's a great guy. I'm not saying he's not a great guy, but what I'm saying is we have 2 weapons at this point. We have Robert Tonyan, who apparently, you would say his name wrong, Mo, just so you know, it's not Tanyan, it's Tunyon. And we got Devontae Adams. And the thing that I would like to see, and the reason why they had a lot of success last time in offense, the Packers, was they didn't mess around, even trying to attack the middle of the field. They stayed away from Kendricks. They stayed away from the safeties. They went after your corners. They did all those sweeps. They did passes to the outside. They did all that kind of stuff. I want to see sweeps with MVS. I want to see passes to Devontae to the outside. I want to see Tanyan moving in motion to the outside.
Tanyan.
dang, I said it wrong. I just said Prudy.com. Oh my God. Anyways,
I'm confused now. Is it Tunyon?
It's Tunyon, like
because,
a ton.
like ton.
He's a ton of mess for you guys to cover. That's what I got to keep remembering.
And on top of it, just think about if we would have been saying his name right the whole time. Think about the marketing opportunities for Funyuns.
Yeah.
You know, like, come on. I mean, if
it's
Bob
still
Tunyon,
there, the opportunity's still there.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, Bob Tunyon, like, he's made hardly any money the first couple of years of his NFL career. How much more money could he have made if he would have got a chance to play right away and showed how good he is, and people would have known how to say his name right away? It'd have been join Tunyon for a Funyun or something, you know, like my marketing brain. It's just brilliant. But something like that. Someone in Funyuns would have came up with that. The Tunyon Funyun combo.
Funyuns are one of those snacks that you don't think about, but then when you see them, you're like, dang it, Funyuns. And then you have to get them, but you don't really want to, you're not looking for them because you don't want to have that many of them. But like when you see them, you're always like, dang, Funyuns.
That's what you're like when you see Tunyon. Dang,
right.
Tunyon,
that's what it is.
Good.
You got to look out.
Yeah.
It's just like a whatchamacallit candy bar. You never think about it because it's got a stupid name, whatchamacallit. But then when you see it, you're like, oh, whatchamacallit is the greatest candy bar of all time. And you got to get it. But when you don't see it, you're like, you don't think about it. But it's got the best combination of all things you could ever want in a candy bar. And Funyuns are.
Is he really?
Just wait.
So,
that dynamic, though, really?
He is. But just think about this. If Mike McCarthy knew how to say his name, I'm sure Mike McCarthy has had a Funyun or two in his life. If he knew how to pronounce his name, how many more times would he have been thinking during the game? If he's thinking about Funyuns, he might have thought about Tunyon. Let's put him in the game just because of the Funyun-Tunyon connection.
Wow.
That also
like a fat joke? Is that was a fat joke?
No, that's just.
Oh, okay.
I would eat Funyuns if I.
Okay. They're not good.
I would eat if I knew his name was Bob Tunyon. I would eat more Funyuns. That's what I'm also saying.
Okay. I don't know. I think he's had one obviously really monster game and maybe a couple nice games, but that's not like.
All right, Eric, I'm going to fill you in. No, you're downplaying the mastery.
I am a little bit.
Fine. I'll fill you in because you haven't seen our show.
Okay.
I did some comparables of the top tier Pro Bowl tight ends and their talent versus Bob Tunyon. So based on their combine numbers, so 40 time, bench, some of these other things, you know, like the 10-yard split, the 20-yard split, which for tight ends are really important, right? And Bob Tunyon had better numbers than George Kittle, than Travis Kelce, significantly better in the 40. He ran a 4.58 40-yard dash.
Pretty good.
At 250 pounds.
It's pretty good.
That's much better than these other tight ends are 2.7 something, 2.68. Like Kelce was 2.67, one of the faster ones. A bunch of these other guys are 4.67. And these other guys are like 4.7, 4.75. The great pass threat that the Packers drafted 2 years ago, Jace Sternberger, his 40 time, 4.75. Like Bob Tunyon is a mismatch, and the Packers are finally getting him on the field. So yeah, you got to watch out for him.
Okay.
Sorry.
It's fine.
He's got the talent. It's just that he went to Indiana State. So and he played quarterback and receiver and then came to the NFL and they put him in as tight end. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah. We'll see. He has to produce though, right? He's got the one big game and I don't know, he's been a little quiet lately, right? I mean, I don't know. And maybe he's just still feeling out the position, but you know, those combine numbers obviously don't mean everything. I can appreciate, obviously, he's got some talent there and some raw athletic ability. So how can he kind of put it in the field? I mean, it's not like Justin Jefferson had a great 40 time or anything, right, Ben?
No, he sucked. So, that's why he was not high on my list because I watched the tape and I saw the numbers and I was like, give me Aaron Parker instead. I'll take him. He's better.
Okay.
And nobody drafted him, and now he's on the Cowboys practice squad. Though Isaiah Coulter did actually get activated this week to the Texans full squad, just so you know. That's the other guy I like.
It's really exciting.
I don't like what I'm seeing in the chat. Rick, and Eckes are going back and forth in these concerned ways about the Vikings.
I'm concerned too. How are you not concerned?
They're concerned about losing to the Vikings. Eric, why should we be concerned about possibly losing to the Vikings on Sunday?
Well, I mean, I guess I can think of a few things. I mean, obviously, I'm not in a great head state right now with them, right? because it's kind of like my nightmare each season when it happens, and it's happened obviously to every fan. But aside from the goal of winning a Super Bowl every year, it's everyone's goal, right? But like I want meaningful games in December, because that means I've gotten to enjoy the whole season, right? Every game's mattered through the whole season. My team's in the thick of it. They're in the playoff hunt or race or whatever. Like the games in December are meaningful, and that's what I want. And I don't think I'm going to be getting that this season. So, hence my current head state. So that's kind of, as a fan, I think, in my nightmare, because you don't get to it. You kind of get robbed of the season that way. So, but aside from that, I think, the offense is still good. It's intact. They're getting one of their offensive guards back, which would help a lot, because people trying to fill in a right guard has been a disaster, one after the other. So, younger guys are getting a chance to play, but the offense with Thielen and Jefferson, who I'll admit, Ben, he's surprised me as well. And I think it surprised the team. They started him at slot the first couple of games, and he wasn't doing anything. They moved him out to outside. Like, oh my gosh, we had to keep him on the outside. And the way he kind of adjusts the ball and makes catches, I mean, that's just things that makes guys a good receiver. When you're not like a blazing fast guy, you got to be able to do those things. So it's been a nice surprise, and he's been fun to watch. Cook is, by all intents, he's been somewhat limited in practice, but every indication he's going to play. He's going to play a full game. So, so I think if the offense still has that potential, they flashed it at times. They haven't played a complete game. So you get something like that where you get a shootout, one mistake by one team or the other, it could be the difference there. But, defensively, besides Kendricks and the two safeties, there's a lot of unproven guys. So they like some of the guys. That's, it's probably coach speak, where they're like, well, we traded Gakwe because we like some of these other guys are really developing. I'm like, what else are they supposed to say, right? But they're going to get a chance to do it. And they're a little bit unknown. So we'll see what happens. And maybe the only silver lining here is that Zimmer's had a couple weeks to kind of figure something out on watching, not only self-scouting themselves, but looking at the Packers offense and saying, what can we do here? What wrinkles? What did they do to us last time? What are they doing to everybody else that maybe we can try to expose? So there's that. So, if the offense can get going and Zimmer comes up with something, it could be interesting. I'm hoping for something interesting, and that would be okay with me. But
I mean, a lot of the games against the Vikings are pretty tough, and Eckes points that out too. Ben, now knowing that the emergence, this goes back to your Jefferson thing, knowing the emergence of Jefferson and him playing on the outside, and you have Adam Thielen, and the Packers seem to, for whatever reason, not allow Chandon Sullivan to play outside and always play the nickel or inside the slot receivers. What do you do with Jair Alexander in this game? Who do you put him on?
I put Jair on Jefferson, and I put Sullivan on Thielen the whole game. I don't care if he's lined up outside or inside or wherever. I don't care. I want Chandon Sullivan on Thielen, because Chandon is really good at covering slot guys, and Thielen's not a speed guy, but he's a crafty guy, and so is Sullivan. He can mess with you, he can cover you, he can stick with you, he can get his hands in there, and he stays tight. Jair sometimes, especially like when he covers Thielen, he gets in trouble. Like, Thielen should never get open against him, but he does quite often, and it's because Jair sometimes will think he reads something, or he'll jump the gun on stuff. And Thielen's so crafty that Jair gets beat. But Jefferson is not, like Mo said, he's not speedy. He does run good routes, but I think Jair's speed and agility would be able to make up for the fact that if he does get beat by some kind of a move or whatever, like a good route running by Jefferson, I think Jair is quick enough to get back and do something, where Thielen is smart enough. Thielen always uses his body well, and he knows how to shield and do stuff like that. And Jefferson does jump up and he does make really good contested catches. That's one thing he did do in college that I did notice. But a lot of those are on free plays, but he seems to do them even within the offense with the Vikings. He does look great. And I was totally wrong. So, but I mean, Jefferson, I'd rather see Jefferson covered by Jair, because I think that's a better matchup. And then if they have to, if they have to put Jackson on Thielen, then give him some help above. If Savage is back, I don't know if he's back or not. That's the thing, Mo. We've got a lot of guys we're missing too. I mean, for Packers offense against your defense, we don't have the speed of Aaron Jones, Tyler Irvin anymore. Those guys took huge advantage against the Vikings in week 1. They used them to the outside. They kept going to the outside, running to the outside, sweeps, all that kind of stuff because they wanted to stay away from the middle. Well, we got Jamal Williams, who's not fast, and we got A.J. Dillon, who's still a rookie, and he kind of just runs straight and runs into dudes. So we don't, that's not good against a team that has a really good middle linebacker and 2 good safeties because that's, they'll take them out of the game. It's like, our running backs are not as good as your safeties and linebackers are. So that's a weakness to us. Okay. Yes, your corners are rough, not the best in the world, but MBS can't catch. We do have a guy, Malik Taylor, who actually has been coming up pretty good. He doesn't drop ball. He's got good hands. Sometimes Rodgers doesn't look at him because he looks at Devontae all the dang time. So that's the other thing. If Zimmer's like, you know what, double team Devontae all the time. Because I can remember, I don't know if you remember this, Mo. There's a game back in the day where Zimmer had a plan. He wanted to double team Jordy Nelson, and that was the plan all week long. And then the Vikings secondary decided, I can't remember who it was, but whoever your best corner guy was, he's like, I'm going to cover Jordy one-on-one. We're going to change. We're going to do something totally different than what Zimmer wanted. Remember that? It was a game at Lambeau.
Yeah.
So if they pull that, obviously these guys are young guys. They're not going to pull that crap. But I mean, Zimmer has good plans. And if they would have done that plan, double Jordy because we had nobody else. And if he doubles Devontae and Rodgers keeps looking at him, it could be very similar to the Tampa Bay game where Rodgers sat there, looked at Devontae. Other guys were open, didn't look at him. And that's his comfort blanket guy, right? He's like, oh, I trust Devontae. I'm going to throw it to him because he don't trust MBS. He can't catch. So our weaknesses are also your weaknesses. And our strengths at this point are not as good as your strengths on defense. So it sounds weird. Maybe our weakness is better than your weaknesses, though. So that's why, I think we will attack you in your, attack your corners. Hopefully, what I want to see is some double team blocks on your D line. Because if they're as bad as you say they are, knowing the Packers, they'll be like, we'll just go one-on-one. And I'm like, okay, but why? Just double team them and then get to the next level. Because then you take a guy out completely, and then you can maybe mess up Kendricks or whoever on the second level after you do the double team and move up. And that's something that they did against the Lions, and Aaron Jones ran all over the place. There are huge holes. Even Jamal Williams could have ran for freaking 100 yards in that game. So that's what I want to see there. And as far as the offense, we all know Kirk Cousins can pass the ball very well. He has a beautiful, beautiful spiral.
If you don't put pressure on him, yeah.
He's very accurate. He's very, very good if he gets no pressure, right? So, and we all know what Dalvin Cook can do. And if he's back, that's an issue. And sometimes, and let's face it, our safeties aren't doing much right now. They don't seem to make many plays. So our weaknesses are your strengths. And you know what I'm saying? It's a very weird game because it seems like all the things you're worried about are the same things we're worried about on the opposite side of the ledger. So whoever can figure it out this week and do the thing, whoever makes the right enough plays is the team is going to win. And it doesn't matter if you're 1-5 or 5-1 or whatever you are, because these teams know each other well. The coaches know each other well. And that's the thing that scares me is that the Packers, if they already think they got this one wrapped up. And I think there are some guys on this team, this Packer team, when they get a lead or when they get a couple wins on their belt, they start phoning it in. And that bothers me. I want to see him keep going. Most of them are on defense. Offense doesn't usually phone it in, but the defense sometimes can phone it in. And if you phone it in against Kirk Cousins and Thielen and Jefferson, we're going to be in trouble. And Dalvin Cook, because I can see that happening. And if they phone it in against them, we're done. Because Cousins can pass us apart if he has time.
Agreed. I think that's really like in NFL, anybody can beat anybody for sure. These teams definitely, the Packers aren't, the Packers have plenty of weaknesses the Vikings could exploit. And those are things we're concerned about. And Rodgers has pointed out guys feeling themselves too much. However, I think that's how he put it. But, I think there's some guys, especially on this defense, that they start feeling good about themselves. And that's what happens. They kind of lose their edge and they need that edge back to stay in a good place. Now, the question I had as you guys were talking about that, you talked about Zimmer, who has had good plans. My question is, will he have a good plan this year or this time around or a Dom plan? That's what you need to ask yourself, Eric. All right. Yeah. I got a couple other quick things. I'm going to give Eric a parting shot here.
That's Vikings. Why I'm the funny one. I'm the funny one.
I thought that it's not good.
That was like a dad joke, dude. That was a grandpa joke. That's all I got. That was a great grandpa joke. That's how that was.
Oh, yeah.
That's all I got. Now I got two quick things before we let Mo have a parting shot in the final word. One is, did you happen to see, Ben and any Packers fans, did you happen to see Larry McCarron's newest breakdown from the other day? How you got Lucas. And Lucas Patrick has been one of my favorite guys. And I actually want to go back to the debate where I named David Bakhtiari. I got pressured with the Hollywood glam. But actually, I can take it back. Lucas Patrick is my favorite guy.
I know he is. I don't know why you said
he's
Bakhtiari.
freaking awesome.
It made no sense when you said Bakhtiari.
Watch Larry. It was the pitch perfect factor. Watch Larry McCarron's and the beer slamming, like how he can.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah,
chug a whole beer in 4 gulps. It's amazing, or whatever. Anyway, now, Lucas Patrick, go watch that if you haven't seen it. It's on the Packers website. You look up Larry's whatever it is. You got Lucas. It kind of taking the phrase "you got mossed." And he shows all these plays of Lucas Patrick, how he plays the game. He's not perfect. But he plays his butt off. He gets everything out of every play. And the guy gives you a solid starter at 3 positions on the interior of the line. Love that guy. Lucas Patrick, the best signing by Goody since he's been GM. I'm going to say it right there. All right.
Okay, I don't know about that. The only thing I'll say to that is this. Lucas Patrick got Lucased himself.
I know he got Lucas.
The other day. From Cunningham. Now, lucky for us, Lucas Patrick, when he got Lucas himself, he took out like 3 other dudes, and then Jamal Williams got 11-yard gain on the play because they're all laying on the ground. So that was good.
He probably
realized what we're talking about.
Realized if he gave himself up, he'd create a bigger avalanche of guys. So he said, I'm gonna go limp. I'm gonna go limp and just let him take me out. That's how smart he is too. So he puts the smarts with the brawn. It's amazing.
It's really brilliant. Yeah.
That
Lucas Patrick, you got Lucas. All right. The other thing is actually kind of a sad note. It's a serious note. I know we haven't done a lot of that today. But on a serious note, no, I'm serious. I'm not trying to be funny or set anything.
I know you're. I'm just saying. No, we haven't been very serious. I was agreeing with you.
Oh well, good.
Up until right now.
There you go. Smart Viking fan. On a serious note, though, Herb Adderley passed away today. Packer great and NFL great. Like that dude was. I mean, that was one of the guys from the Lombardi era that they say you could put him in today's NFL.
Yep.
And he could be a dominant corner. That's how good of an athlete he was. And when you go back and look at his stats and some of the plays he made, so he played, I think, it was like 8 or 9 years for the Packers, something like that. And then he went and played for another team. But he had in 9 postseason games, he had 4 interceptions. And so he had almost an interception every other postseason game he played for the Packers. And they were big interceptions too. And on top of that, you talk to the receivers of that era, they talk about some of the great corners of that time. And they say, I knew what to do against this guy. I knew what to do against this guy. I knew what to do against him. But when I played Herb, I just surrendered because I didn't know there's no way to beat him. That's how good that dude was. Go back and watch some tape on him. Herb Adderley, 81 years old, passed away today. So that's a big loss for the Packers and the NFL.
He was the first. I don't know if he was the first, but he was one of the original Island guys, right? Where he's out there covering a dude and taking him away.
And Lombardi.
And not only that, if you pass to his side, most often than not, he's picking that sucker off. And it's awesome to watch the highlights of old games and see, because let's face it, as a Packer fan, it's not like we've had a great corner, especially get interceptions, corners that get interceptions for us. It hasn't happened much. We get a lot of safeties that do it, but I think the only guy, maybe Sam Shields, would get some picks every now and again because he was fast. But most of those guys were guys like, Woodson, but he played the slot when he was getting picks. And like Micah Hyde, but he was playing in the slot. He wasn't like outside on an island out there. And he's the only guy. And if he gets beat, he's screwed. But he never gets beat because he gets, he's always on his guy. And that's what Herb Adderley was back then. He was a dynamic athlete who could take a guy out of the game. And if you tried to test him, that was a bad move.
And he was a great tackler. They talked about how good of a tackler he was.
Yeah.
And I went back and read some stuff on him today, and Lombardi actually wanted him to play flanker. So the Packers drafted him in the first round. He wanted him to play flanker on offense, and Adderley insisted on playing defensive back and fought that. And then when he let him play D-back, you're like, here you got a guy who you're considering playing receiver with that good of hands as a defensive back. Yeah, that worked out pretty damn good. Anyway, man, for people that remember his career, we only get to go back and see little highlights and stuff, but he was a dominant player and one of those transcendent guys that, like you said, is about 6 feet tall, close to 200 pounds, great tackler, physical, fast, great hands. I mean, could we get a couple more guys like that in our team? That would be awesome. I'm sure you would like something like that too, Mo. But
yeah, right now it'd be really good timing.
Actually. You know what's sad is Herb Adderley, yesterday would have been better than a lot of Vikings corners.
Oh! We said we're gonna be nice the whole time. Stop it now.
I had to say something bad to Mo about the Vikings.
You don't have to be nice. It's the corner position's gonna be a little rough this game. So
I gotta say something though.
Listen, Mo, if the Packers were 1-5 and we invited you on our show and you gave us a bunch of crap, come on, man. You wouldn't do that to us. We can't do that to you.
Well, no, I wouldn't, but I probably would a little. I had to say at least something, like Ben. So
really, hold on a second. So if I was a losing team and you were a winning team, you wouldn't give me crap. How about fantasy football, Mo? You lying son of a gun! You did it right off the bat.
Well,
you are a liar, liar.
But that's personal. That's not.
That's just between you and me.
That's even worse.
Yeah, it is worse.
You can judge yourself from the Vikings. This is a serious personal issue.
That's like the main purpose of fantasy football is to give people crap. That's like the purpose of the game, right? I mean, it's when they when they created the whole fantasy football thing. Like, this would be a great way for you to just rip on your friends and right. I mean, that's what it was for. That's what it's for, Ben. I'm sorry.
Or your dad.
Or your sister, or worst teams for 9 years in a row. I just want to win one time.
I know, but
win one time.
Ben, you did it to yourself.
I know. Gardner Minshew was the dumbest move of all time.
No, it has nothing to do with. You can make any move you want. It's the stuff you pulled in '99 is going to come back to haunt you for the rest of your fantasy football existence because
Mo was in that Mo league. He was in the fantasy football league. He was one of the originals.
When Ben egregiously cheated to win the league. He was like, we had 7 players in our inaugural league. Ben had to be commissioner, of course, and Ben says, "Oh well, we got to have an even number of teams, so I'll just have 2 teams, guys. I'll just have 2 teams." Now, no one thought Ben seemed like an honorable, nice young man. Never drank alcohol, like he was saying, still doesn't. He takes the burnt pizza from the oven and at least sticks it outside. What else does he does a lot? He airs the coats out that smell like burnt pizza. He runs around the parking lot trying to get them so they don't smell as bad.
I did all that.
He does all of those things, right? Yet what he also does is has 2 fantasy football teams, and then as soon as his fantasy football team one stinks and the other one is doing okay, he's like, I know what I'll do. I'm going to trade all of my good guys to my other fantasy football team to really stack that one, and then I'll win the league. And he did exactly that.
I did win the league.
And he won thanks to Kurt Warner and stacking his team. And also in the process, he's been paying for it for 21 years.
Yeah, I have.
Because
20 because the first year I won. So I've been paying for it for 20 years.
Don't mess with fantasy football rules, Ben. Integrity in fantasy football is vital. And you're paying for it for the rest of your life. Doesn't matter what you do. You could draft all the best players and they'll get hurt. They'll have a drug problem. They'll lose their minds. They'll break a leg. Doesn't matter. You draft them all the best ones. That's why when you say you want to draft a player now, I stay away from because I know you're cursed.
Stop drafting Vikings then, Ben, please.
There's a reason why I do.
I just wish you would have drafted singing Tom Brady one of these years.
All I know is
jerk. Tell's wrong with you.
I had Aaron Rodgers. I had Aaron Rodgers in 2017 and 2018. And then I said, okay, I'm not taking Aaron Rodgers anymore.
I still blame you. I still blame you.
I know. That's why I stopped taking him.
All right, Eric. Back to the Vikings and Packers game. Yeah. Tell us who's going to win and why. Make the case for your Vikings to win. What can happen?
No, he can be honest. Whatever he feels.
Okay, be honest. Tell us who's going to win. Sorry.
This doesn't feel good, but I think the Packers are going to win because the secondary is just so depleted right now, and there's no reason to think the pass rush is going to be better without Yannick Ngakoue. So he's going to have lots of time, and he's going to have really young or inexperienced or injured corners to throw at all game long. And there's just really no reason to think that they're going to be able to stop them through the air. Now, I get not having Aaron Jones is big, but I think they'll still find a way to make the running game viable and everything. But and the way that Cousins has played lately is just not inspiring anybody. So I feel like almost feels like he has to play flawless at this point. And there's been a lot of pressure on the offense because of what the defense is doing. So I think that's the reason why, reasonably and rightfully so, I think that the Packers are favored to win this game. The fact that it's in Lambeau doesn't mean as much this time. There's no fans, and whatever, that part will be a little different. The elements shouldn't be too big of a deal either. But I don't see any reason, especially what Rodgers is playing, to not just pick this team apart on the defensive side of the ball. And I still think with guys like Preston Smith and Darius Smith that they're going to get pressure on Cousins and force a mistake or something. So that's just it just feels way too much like week one with the injuries they have and everything. And if anything, they're more depleted. So that's why I think that the only way I think is if Cook really has to have a big day for them to stay in it and to keep the ball away from Rodgers and make the passing game relevant with the play action. And if they can do that and avoid a turnover, they could make it interesting. But but they're going to need that. But there's every indication. The good news is that Cook is going to play. He's going to play a lot. He's not going to be going to pitch count. They're going to play him as much as possible. So, and so that part's good. And hopefully that part is exciting. And getting their right guard back should help because he's not a great pass blocker, but he's a really good run blocker. So that might help in that element too. But one other thing I'll throw out there. Irv Smith outsnapped Kyle Rudolph the last couple of weeks and at tight end, and it's looked pretty good. But they've been kind of some weird games lately here where Atlanta was just a bad game in general. But he looked pretty good. I think they're kind of maybe changing up the guard there because Kyle Rudolph's really, 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 really slow. And but we'll see what happens there. So just another weapon to throw in there. So it's still going to be fun to watch the offense. I just we'll have to see what the defense does with what they have. I honestly don't even know what they're going to do at corner. It's that bad. Like wow. Jeff Gladney, who's played more in the slot when he's played, is going to start, and then Mark Fields, who they've had off and on at the practice squad, and they have this Harrison Hand, who's also a rookie, like fourth rounder, that played a little bit more. But I don't even know who they have after that. That's healthy. The other guys have not practiced. So unless one of those guys is able to play miraculously, they're going to be really thin. I mean, Green Bay should go like 4 wide or 5 wide and get as many corners on the field as possible because
they can't.
They don't have any receivers.
They don't have any receivers. It's weird. It's really crazy. They've been so depleted. When Lazard went out, it really exposed a bunch of things. We talked about that too, like how Valdez-Scantling can't be like a second receiver. That's not what he's good for. He's good for like
can't catch.
Third or fourth guy who's just in there as a speed threat, a deep threat. That's it. He can't play possession. He can't adjust to the ball. He can't change direction. Taylor, who was picked up off the scrap heap, is much more effective second receiver than he would be because he does catch well. He does change direction. He has no speed, but he can at least, cut and run an in-cutting route and get open. And then it just leads you to think like it's going to be a monster Devontae day again. And that's okay as long as it's effective and works out. And the other factor is the Tunyon factor, and I might pick up a bag of Funyuns for this game because
we didn't mention David Bakhtiari didn't play last week.
Yeah. You might not have to watch Bakhtiari hold people all game, Eric.
That'd be so amazing.
Make you happy. Yeah. You should make you happy.
Can you just notice, like, just league wide, I'm not picking on the Packers here, just league wide, there's just less holding calls, right? Like the league doesn't want all these holding calls. And what has happened? Like, have you seen these box scores? I mean, teams are scoring tons of points because these big plays aren't being called back, and lines are getting away with making bigger holes because they can hold people, and quarterbacks have more time because they can hold people. And it's a bit more of a purist. I don't like it. I just don't like it.
That's not you're upset because the Vikings don't even touch anybody on offensive line. They can't even get in the way of guys.
Well, how are you supposed to hold him?
Let's hold the guy. Yeah.
Right.
That one guy. What was that guy's name? All I know is I listened to a show, a Viking show after the Seahawks game, and there's some guard, right guard. I don't know what his name was.
I think it was Drew Samia. Does that sound right?
Oh my God. He was
So
just.
I really like the guy. I think he's more of a right tackle, but he had a rough game. He had a rough game.
He was bad.
He's a really strong guy. He's a good run blocker, but his pass block, it shouldn't be that hard to pass block as a guard. You got guys on both sides of you. You stay close to them and block the guy in front of you. But he just got
Billy Turner sucks at it.
Yeah, he plays guard at it too.
Yeah, I don't know what
Billy Turner's been playing much better at tackle this year. I'll say.
Yep.
Just
Yeah.
We're getting a bunch of score predictions and some other stuff, but I did want to say that I think the Packers haven't faced a team, and part of it was because they got leads in games at times and stuff, but they have not faced a team outside of Tampa Bay in the second half who really stuck with the run. And if the Vikings are commit to sticking with the run with Cook and Madison, who's very capable, they could then grind out the game, keep it close, and you don't know what the hell can happen then. So, I mean,
well, they definitely will if they can. I mean, they didn't really last time because they had to try to play catch up. But if the game's even remotely close, they will run because that's what Zimmer does. That's what Kubiak does. They will run until you make them not run anymore because that's all they want to do. So, I mean, they have obviously a passing game and everything, but they will. That's one thing I've never seen is them not commit to the run in a situation where they otherwise could have. So, just a matter of being in that position.
All right, we're going to wrap her up here in just a second, but we got some score predictions. Ekis is on his way out. Peace out, Ekis. Ekis thinks it's going to be Packers 31.
Thanks for the bush light, Ekis.
There you go, bush light. Turn it on. Ekis says Packers 31, Minnesota 24. Dad thinks it's going to be Packers by 21 or more. A blowout? I don't know. Maybe, but it's not, these games always come closer, especially like the second game of the season. I always feel when it's like that. Of course, except for last year. Sorry, Mo, I don't want to bring that up. But anyway,
that's all right.
It's like Bernard says Packers 38, Vikings 17. He's feeling confident. Okay. Well, Packers are feeling pretty good, and they should. But again, our team is not perfect. There's plenty of things that could be exploited, and you got to see how it plays out. Again, it's going to be key. Like, can the Vikings stick to the running game? Can they have success in the running game? Really? Now, Eric, a couple of things are a little different than you may have realized from the first game is even though Zarius Smith has a bunch of the sacks or the most sacks on the team, probably the best pass rusher out of the group has been Rashawn Gary from the outside linebackers. But Kingsley Keke, Ben has talked about him and showed some really good stuff from him. He has really come on, not only as a pass rusher, but also against the run. And a guy who I had written off, who I thought was just terrible through the first few years, is finally doing something. That's Montravius Adams. So Montravius Adams, a backup inside interior defensive lineman, has been effective against the run. He's been a key to the Packers playing better against the run. And Keke has been, even though he's the smallest one, he's only like 280 some pounds. He has been probably their best interior player so far.
Yeah, I think that's not good because, really, the Vikings can't run the ball. They're going to have a lot of trouble. Obviously, you guys know. If they can't play action pass, they really can't do the straight drop back pass very well as far as protection goes. So, they got to be able to run the ball. And so, obviously, that should be a focus of the Packers is to stop the run and force those third and long situations. But, it's good for you guys. I'm happy for you guys because I like you guys, and that's maybe the only reason I'm happy for you. But that those guys are developing, so that's good for your defense. We'll see. I think I'm hoping. At least an offensive shootout would be exciting, But I have it hard to believe that it's going to be a low scoring affair. So there's that to look forward to. But we'll see.
Could be exciting,
right?
Some scoring. That's good.
Hope for some scoring. Yeah. No one's going to get called for holding, so it should be fine.
It's just I wish we had Bakhtiari. If no one's going to get called for holding,
that'd be better. Well, he might be playing. He's not out yet.
Oh, okay.
But he was out the last couple of weeks. So
King and Jones are out, right?
King and Jones are out, yeah. Well, I don't know about. I think King's out. I don't know. Usually you have
King's
that. You usually have that, but you were sleeping, so you don't have any information for us today.
King's out. King's out for good. And as somebody was saying, we might as well just get rid of him, cut him. So that really.
Why cut him? Keep him. But we're not going to sign him back, obviously.
All right, don't sign him back. Yeah. Kevin King. Maybe that could be a free agent signing for the Vikings. They got so many
you
problems
guys
at
could have
cornerback.
Yeah, you could have a corner.
I actually I think
We'll go after him. I'll tell you that.
I think their cornerback group was actually getting quite a bit better. And the interesting thing is that they haven't started the same three guys. If you include the nickel guy, they haven't started the same three guys all season. So they've just had injuries and other things going on. So, and this game will be no different. So it's hard to develop kind of younger guys, and they're not playing together that much. But they started to play pretty well, and now just almost all of them are hurt. So, so we'll see. I think the future is okay with them. I think they'll be okay in that department. Everyone thinks, oh, they're going to draft a cornerback again, but I don't think so. I think there's plenty of talent there. They just need some time to kind of develop a little bit. But we'll see.
That's good. The Packers have been drafting corners for years, and so far they got one. That's pretty good.
Vikings too. So.
All right, so here's what we're going to do. Around the horn scores, because we got to get going, and then I'll wrap it up. Around the horn scores, starting with Ben, or I'll start. I'm going to say Packers 42, Vikings 31.
Wow.
Ben.
Okay. I'm going to say Packers are going to get, I think it's not going to be as crazy as everybody thinks. I got to be honest. I think there's going to be some issues. I think it's going to be 27 Packers to 17.
Ooh.
27-17. Packers win, though.
Yeah, I'm going to say that the Packers win also. I'll say 31-27. Go with that.
Ooh, a tight one. Okay, nice.
Just so I have some sort of optimism that it's going to be, at least I can enjoy the whole game.
Right. It's exciting, at least. That's good. That's all we want, right? It's entertainment. It's excitement. All right. Thanks, Viking Moe. You're awesome.
Thank you, guys. Thanks, guys. Appreciate
thanks,
it.
Mo.
Thanks for all hanging with us. So we started off late. We got late because I was sleeping. Then, because I didn't sleep all week pretty much, and I'm burning the candle at both ends. But anyway, trying to help people out, trying to start a new business, trying to do all this stuff.
You're a good guy, Jace.
40-hour job, and whatever else. Help the kids. Actually, I'm the best fourth grade learning coach of all time. That's what I've been told. I'm really good at fourth grade.
That's good.
Seventh grade, not as good. Fourth grade, I can handle. Okay. Anyway, so we started off late. We talked a bunch of nonsense. Ben ranted for about fantasy football.
Oh man, so much about Ben.
We went in all kinds of directions. Told the crazy pizza story. We had other stuff happen.
That's some good stuff there.
But we brought it all around. Talked some Packers, and you hung on with us all the way down to after 11 o'clock. Oh my God! Bless you guys. Whether you're in Slovakia, Italy, Minnesota, Wisconsin, I don't care where you are. Bless you all. You're awesome. Congratulations for spending another night with us. And we'll be back. We're looking for a good game on Sunday. Eric, no matter what happens, we hope it's fun, an exciting game. But of course, we hope the Packers win.
I understand.
All right. Viking Moe, take care. You guys take care.
We'll
catch you on Sunday for the Packer game, and we'll see you next week, Tuesday night.